Apparently we are live then, I think. So let me go over to things.
I'm checking us right now, and oh my god.
We are live, and I'm tiny. I'm tiny with bad lighting today.
Yeah, I kind of look, I look too big on there. God damn it.
I couldn't split it. It's been so long, I can't remember how to split this then, so that Skype will just let me, have me as big as you right now. It's stupid. It's the only way I can think to get us both on screen right now until I figure out with my software again how the hell to do that with my recording software. But now I'm going to pull up the stream on my phone, and so that's the only way I can easily look at the chat if there is any chat. Ormo said he'd pop on over. Not to join us, but if he spoiled his shit because he didn't see it.
Which I'm sad about, because, Ormo, if you're seeing this, I am so upset with you!
Let's see here. Like there, I think I can't be in the app to see the live, can I?
Let me see,
I think I actually have to just go on YouTube on my phone.
Yeah, I'm doing that as well. Oi. Okay, and make sure that everything is all set. I
want the mobile version.
Okay,
and I want myself.
Productions. Let's see, I swear I have you. Okay, here we go.
Yep, says live now. There it is.
3 people watching.
So many people! And now let me just
right?
get to the chat. There we go. If there is a chat. If anyone cares to chat, if I even turned on the chat, I don't know.
Yeah, if anyone cares to chat, you have the right to chat. Freedom of speech, baby.
I thought I used to have a chat feature. Maybe you can't see it on the mobile version.
I do see it.
Okay, so you can see the chat version. I don't have my other computer on, which is the way I used to do this.
Okay, we have Doc Paladin EXE saying characters per comment fucking bullshit.
Characters for comment bullshit? Hey, wait, that means you got paid me money to do characters, right? Or something? I read that when I was setting up the stream. I read that I could push a button and say, yeah, people could buy little commenty icons and pay me money to do it on my stream and stick out. Go like, there's fucking 3 people here. How can't you stand out in this stupid shit? Because I'm so popular nowadays then, because everybody hates me because I haven't done Zero No Tsukaima in fucking years. Everybody hates me. Hey, Howard-ism's back, guys. Shut up. Okay.
Yep.
I can only do one thing at a time at this point.
So now we're doing commercials and this discussion now, are we?
Absolutely.
Okay,
it's the only way to get that. I want Haruhi-ism to have as many subscribers as I want the Haruhi-ism to have as many subscribers as I have, because we actually are going to be turning out freaking episodes on that channel, whereas this is what the hell we're doing on mine, apparently.
I would love to have more subs on my Insane Bad Guys channel, because episode 5 of Soul Eater, it's coming out soon, and I want more people to notice the views and entertainment that we have on that channel.
Oh, well, that's a self-plug if I ever heard one.
Do people even care about Zero No Tsukaima anymore?
They do! I just got a message, comments where somebody was commenting on my Star vs. Butterfly bit, saying that, hey, I can't see the other episodes for Zero No Tsukaima because fucking Anmi-chan, or whatever the shit that has the rights to Zero No Tsukaima right now, apparently, on YouTube, slashed like half my episodes then, and I can't get the fuckers up with that, because they won't let me even go with the fair use. They kick me back then and say, no, we want to keep it, so they didn't shut up. So you go like, I'm not fucking pushing a lawsuit here. I'm sorry. I'm not that iffy right now. I don't have the lawyers like, the other big guys on YouTube that can, make sure to get me out of bullshit trouble. So that's why I did the commentary episode through the series, because doing it that way, it doesn't get hit. So it's the only way that everybody can see all the episodes of Zero no Tsukaima Bridge that I did, without me posting them somewhere else at the moment. You have to watch the commentary bit. I apologize for that, for anybody who cares right now, who's listening and watching this, if I leave this on the channel. But that's where Zero no Tsukaima Abridged is sitting then. If somebody wants me to be Saito in something, I'll absolutely do it. For God's sakes, I wanted that. I tried to get Winky Dink to try to do, if ever you've seen Winky Dink's stuff, he does all his hotel bits with famous characters, and I've been trying to poke him to do a Zero no Tsukaima one or a Toradora one then, and me and Mike or something like that get involved. It would be a great way to get Sid back into it then, where with her, I already kind of pitched the idea to him, and now he's going to steal the fucking idea again from me. Where the character that Sid would play or someone else would play, then that would be playing, let's say, Louise in that case, can swap wigs, and now she's Taiga. And stuff like that. So it's a flip-flop wig moment then, where she's actually playing two people then, and then the third, and then she's some other character then entirely. But that would be the joke then, is that you'd have the Toradora cross Zero no Tsukaima in that episode right there. So so that's Shauna then was going to be the bit at the end, but because me and Mike had our own series then running at that time then. It made perfect sense. That's why we did the crossover bit for one of the episodes with, I'm visiting my cousin Ryuji. Like, that sounds fucking familiar, man.
Clever.
All right. Clever. So that's catch up time for everybody who actually showed up in here at this point in time. That was playing catch up. And I still can't figure that part out there. Maybe I just will have to plug in my second computer. But, nope, that was catch-up time, guys. Now it's down to the main event, because Zero somehow talked me into watching that fucking movie. And Orimo, did Orimo show up yet?
I don't think so. Damn you, Orimo.
I'm going to message him here quick. Say, Orimo, you idiot. But I think we can break this down then into two parts, almost sort of like Angry Joe when he does his reviews. So we'll do the non-spoilery kind of just reaction bit, and then followed up by the spoilers. So at the start here then, guys, we're going to try to not spoil anything. Obviously, anything related to the original Power Rangers TV series is open game, because if you haven't seen that by now, hey, I can't really yell spoiler alerts for that. That's been too many fucking years. It's like, Darth Vader's Luke's father. It's been years, guys, okay? If you really could get spoiled about that, that's a problem. So, as far as the movie itself, then, Zero, your thoughts first.
I thought the movie was kind of good. I mean, it's not that great, but it's kind of a good film.
I was surprised going into it myself. I actually took my notepad with me so I could jot down notes, and I don't have them with me right now because I left them somewhere else. But I actually started jotting down ideas, things, thoughts that came to mind. So that'll be for the spoilery section where I've got all those comments to make. But as far as an overall movie, definitely it did a better job of being a standalone than the actual Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie with Ivan Ooze, and the Turbo movie. Definitely over the Turbo movie then.
Yeah.
Turbo was sort of just the fake way, I think, of a non-series canon related way of explaining, here's how we got to Turbo. You're like, I didn't like that representation. I didn't like the representation that was in the Ivan Ooze of how you got the ninja Zords and things of that nature. I didn't like the versions compared to the TV, but they were still all right for what they were. I completely get that. But the problem was there was a conflict. That will be fun for the spoiler section here. But but as far as this movie, it did feel like a good enough standalone movie where I can see them going into Power Rangers movie 2.
Of course, that's what I'm actually hoping for. My thoughts on how can I compare that movie than the other two movies? If I have to say, this movie is actually better than what Turbo did. But if I have to choose both this and the movie that features Ivan News, I think both of them stands tall, in my opinion, as my favorite movies.
Okay. How about a question to you on that? What would you say is the element that keeps the original Power Rangers movie up there then? Is it the story element that they built to it? Or do you think it was more just a nostalgia build from the show because it was the characters? Hey, you can't argue with the man, but I'm a frog. It's a frog. You can't argue with the man who would later go on to do many other great works, being a fucking frog in a movie. It's a spirit animal. You didn't see that really in the TV series. You didn't see just that stupid. I'm a frog. Everybody else get this cool shit. And go like one of the best lines in that movie was that.
Yeah, fun fact about that though. Apparently, according to what John Young Bosch said about his line being the frog, it was actually ad-libbed.
And I could see him doing that too. So it's those kind of little things then that made that movie, for me, it worked well then. I just don't, in the sense of a story, I think the TV series just had a better idea for, the origins of the ninja powers, things of that nature. I think it just worked better than the movie. So entertainment value, I would put them at par after all these years. To retro look at this, of course, when that movie first came out, it was fucking awesome, as a kid. But to retro look back to it, to see the, and this will be fun later, to see the CG comparison. You knew that was early 90s. You knew that was 90s CG then back in the original. Looking back at it now, but we'll get to that later.
It's PS1 graphics. It's PS1 graphics.
Yeah.
It's fucking PS1 graphics.
But you can look back at it and say that's what it was, and product of its time. I hate the idea of when a lot of people say that, it's shit like the new It movie, the with Pennywise, and you go like that versus the miniseries with Tim Curry. Oh, this one's going to be more awesome and things of that nature. You go like, it's a product of its time. It's catering to people nowadays versus what was horror back at that point with Tim Curry. I go like, I freaking love the original miniseries just because of the way Tim Curry portrayed Pennywise. So it's kind of that same idea here. Is I can look back at the old Power Rangers movie and say I enjoyed it because I had the connection with the characters then from all the other bits they did.
And that's what made the movie kind of great, was the characters. Like, they were like story driven, right?
Well, the characters in the new movie. So this is what you had to do. The characters in the old movie, they were extensions of their TV counterparts. You had the entire TV series to build up their characters then and just kind of run with it for a movie. What happened for this one, the 2017 Power Rangers movie, was that you had to build that from scratch. So you knew there was going to be a lot of people with nostalgia who knew the basic storylines of characters, things of that nature. But you had to spend, I'll give it that, I wanted to see an all-out ballsy Power Rangers movie, awesome Zords, fighting, the martial arts, everything that made the show great. Was the Sentai footage. We can't deny that then. Some of the plots were stupid. It's the Sentai footage that kind of brought everybody all together. But I can understand. I heard they want to do a 6-part series, and I can already see where this is going. They're going to take a couple of big key story plots or episodes. This movie was basically episode 1, extended out into a 2-hour movie.
Of course.
And 2/3 of that or more, you had to develop the characters then, because you're still trying to get some new generations into it. Yeah, because you didn't have the TV series to develop them. And of course, episode 1 of the Power Rangers season 1, you kind of had to speed things up because you wanted to get to the fun stuff. You know, think about what happened in episode 2 of Power Rangers. That was the Bones episode. Then you go like, no, they're already Power Rangers. Now we're trying to use time portal, space and time to get rid of them. We're already jumping into it. We're not waiting 7-10 episodes to set everybody up.
I don't know. I don't like trying to compare characters from the reboot and the original series, but it's just that I think the only difference between the originals and the rebooted ones is the reboot ones, they have more personality, more attitude, and not the ones we grew up with, the ones who were mostly goody-goods, so who believe in the heart of the cards, that kind of stuff.
Hey, that was the 90s, though, man. It's a product, again, of its time. What was going on in the 90s? You had you had the badass characters then. My favorite animated show was fucking Street Sharks. That was the shit for me at that time period then. Those were the kind of shows I liked to watch. So the action elements were always the cool, awesome thing, but they're character products of their times. You go watch Street Sharks, it's an era piece then, the way the characters act. It's freaking it's 80s 90s mesh and all those shows back then that I used to watch. In this case, with the characters, they tried to make them a little bit more timeless, so a little bit more relatable, but at the same time reminiscent. I don't want to go into any of these spoiler bits then here yet, so I'm going to keep holding off on a lot of stuff. But overall, the story did well as far as overall. To explain the characters, to give them strong personalities that you can now build off of for movies to come, they did an alright job of doing that. What they didn't do an alright job of, I think, was really catering to the lore that was set up. Of course, we're not trying to be Sentai lore. We're not following the Japanese version of the show. We're trying to follow the 90s Power Rangers version in America. That's what it's based off of.
I would talk about that, but I think I'd rather save that for the spoilers section, because I have my own thoughts about how to compare the movie with the very first episode.
Yeah, there's a lot of things then that I jotted down, like explicit details that I think will be touched on very well. So okay, so now that's kind of the overall sense between the both of us. We both kind of, I mean, in general, if I was to just give a quick number rating now, I would say probably out of a 10 scale, a 1 to 10 scale, I would probably just early on give it maybe a 5. I don't want to give it a 6. I don't want to get over an average movie. I don't, just because I don't want to bring the nostalgia into the picture. And that's because of the one major factor is I don't think this movie knew what it wanted to be. Did it want to cater to the nostalgia? Did it want to cater to the nostalgia older generation? Did it want to cater to an older generation that maybe never saw the Power Rangers before? Did they want to cater to the young kids out there then? I think the movie felt like it was all over the place on who it was really trying to target at the end of the day, and that's why I kind of compare it to the Ghostbusters movie. Not to say the Ghostbusters movie sucked. I'm going to say that now. It sucked. But the way I phrased it on Joe's comment section, after I watched his review, after I kind of did mine, or after I kind of watched the movie and then I went and saw his review, because I wanted to, I made a comment on there saying that the movie could have done better if it didn't have the Power Rangers namesake attached to it, much like how the new Ghostbusters movie would have did better if they didn't play the Ghostbusters name card and say, hey, all you nostalgia people, here's a Ghostbusters movie, versus just saying, hey, here's a superhero movie then with characters, original characters, similar design. I think the movie would have did better overall if you didn't have the Power Ranger namesake, as far as ratings would go from a critique. I would have probably given it a 7 at that point, as far as a movie would go, but the nostalgia factor was still supposed to be there, and it didn't... They were playing off of it, and it didn't fulfill, in my opinion.
I would give this movie a 6. I'm not saying it out of my own nostalgia for the series. I mean, I am a diehard Power Rangers fan when I was a kid, but the only reason why I gave it a 6 is because of how well the story is kind of like one of those movies where you feel like it's out there, like it's trying to be what it wants to be. But what was also good besides the story is how it was delivered and acted, and you can kind of feel like you actually see these teenagers go through what supposedly some teenagers go through these days.
Supposedly, that's a good way of putting it. At the same time as what did they go through years ago? I'm going to get to that soon. I still want to get into the spoilery section, but I want to spend a little bit more time trying to be generic as possible for people who haven't seen it in this first week, because apparently Beauty and the Beast or something like that outdid Power Rangers opening weekend. So I was going like, of course it's going to. It's freaking a live action Disney remake then with freaking Hermione Granger and a CGI faced man. Of course. That's got more nostalgia than even Power Rangers, just because of the fact that it was Disney and people who were 20, 30 in the 90s saw Beauty and the Beast. So you had more people going to see that then. But I'm trying to think of anything else to really go off of as far as not spoilery, because I got so much detail I want to go into for this movie.
Can we talk about the actors?
The actors, let's go into them then. As far as the way that they presented their characters, I think overall each of the actors did a great job of expressing sort of what the writing dictated. I'm not going to say that the characters were written well necessarily, but I think the actors themselves took what was on the script and were able to bring it very well to life then.
I think each of them did well on their parts, and despite how sometimes the writing could be kind of a little bit off, but they managed to do well with the delivery. Yeah. And I think one of the actors that I feel like actually does carry out the film would be the Blue Ranger, because he's like the heart of this movie. He's the Monty of this movie. Yeah, the power of heart.
I did feel that way. I felt like we were almost a little bit Captain-y Planet kind of in this movie. Just because of the idea behind it. Again, hold off just a little bit longer. I'll get into it. But I did feel a little Captain-y Planet, and I'll explain why in a bit.
I mean, are we allowed to talk about Elizabeth Banks, though?
Go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to say right now. Elizabeth Banks' Rita Repulsa is too freaking over the top.
I'll say it as she wanted to play an over-the-top villain. Not to say that Rita's character was not over the top in the TV series. Hells no. But she had giant freaking, cone bra on and stuff. The character was designed to be over the top. That was the idea behind it. When has ever Sentai stuff not made their characters, their monsters, completely freaking over the top? That's part of the joy of it. I can understand that, but they were made to be over the top. The Rita Repulsa for this movie was supposed to be, I think, just like, that evil, like a true evil character that you're supposed to in some way kind of feel sorry for, but at the same time see as the real bitch. But I think, she just overplayed the part maybe a little too much to make me really feel like she is this long-term villain. It almost made me feel at the end that I really don't care to see more Rita Repulsa. I want to go right to fucking Lord Zed at this point, is the way I felt.
You can just imagine yourself right now. If you saw her on the screen, you can just imagine her just chewing up the scenery, going, oh, mom, so good.
Don't get to that yet. No, don't get to that yet. I know what you're alluding to. Don't get to that yet. Now I feel like the Gremlins needed to come into that movie at some point too and just start messing with the film. And then we'll have Tommy in the audience bouncing out then, getting full with the Dragon Dagger to say fix that movie like a Hulk Hogan moment. Okay. So as far as to summarize the actors, then. Most of them, the teenagers in this case. The adults, again, non-freaking existent, it felt like then. And you go like, and that's in tune with the show. You really didn't see the adults have any real focus on them whatsoever. They were kind of there on the side to be, parents. That's how they felt. Yeah, I could slap them across and say, ignore them the rest of the series, and nobody cares about them. The kids... The teens did their job well enough then to play what they were written. Not going to say it was good writing, but they did. They made the writing stand out. And then as far as, for Rita, it just kind of fell a little too forced. Felt like they wanted to play her as like being, it's the big baddie of the movie, guys, but she ended up coming across as more of a joke, in my opinion, than a real evil kind of thing, or like she was the stereotypical villain then that you're gonna put to so powerful until the very last second of the movie, when everybody overcomes the difference and then she's not as powerful appearance anymore, right?
Wait, if we're talking about villains as a joke, can we talk about the elephant in the room about a certain golden creature?
Goldar. The trailer spoiled Goldar, of course. The
toy spoiled us.
The toy spoiled us about the Megazord too, and I'm gonna save that's for the spoiler discussion then too. The kind of details about that, but the toy spoiled a lot of shit. And there's more stuff I do want to talk about, so I think we're gonna get to the spoiler section here soon. So let's set that aside for now. We already kind of talked about our thoughts on the story, sort of how it played, the actors themselves. The music.
We forgot one more actor because I don't want anyone in the comments section.
No, we gotta talk about him.
Yeah, we have to talk about.
We gotta talk about the wall. The face on the wall. They did. I'll say it right now. They did the same fucking thing that they did to him in my opinion, the same thing they did to him in Godzilla. They used him in my opinion, they used him more for the name than to really get a full, a true utilization of him as an actor. I think they threw him more as a nostalgic grab namesake because, hey, he was involved with Power Rangers in the past. But I don't think that they gave him just sort of a character. He was his own character, of course. I'll say it right now, he didn't feel like the Zordon of the TV series. Just in his actions, his character, it was definitely a bit different. It was more Bryan.
Bryan Cranston.
Yeah, it was Bryan Cranston. That's what it felt like. But I think they.
Sorry.
No, I just think at the end of the day they used him for his name then and his popularity again, like Godzilla over, the character.
Well, if we are going to talk about Bryan Cranston's character, I was just going to say they did add in a little bit of Breaking Bad into his character, if you know what I mean.
Oh yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. Yeah. It's again, I think they've tried to play more off of him as his popularity and everything else that he's connected to. Like Godzilla did, instead of utilizing him to his full abilities as an actor. He's a fucking amazing actor. I'm going to say that right now. Not just what he did with Breaking Bad, but even all those years ago and everything else he did. Just when you'd watch him as a comedian character in Malcolm in the Middle. He just had that. He had the ability to go from comedian-like character to a high-intensity drama star. he's got a great range to play with. I just don't think they utilized him to his fullest extent and just threw him in there for a namesake like Godzilla did.
Yeah, just like that. And since we are talking about Zordon, how about good old Alpha 5?
Alpha 5 is a character. I'm in a mixed bag with Alpha, primarily because of the design I can get by. It's supposed to be future alien technology kind of appearance.
What it's supposed to feel like.
So he's got that down over original Alpha 5 from the TV series. You know, he looked clunky and like what a robot would have looked, you'd think, in the 80s. I mean, we had, why am I forgetting his name? The most famous robot ever. Lost in Space here. Danger, Will Robinson. Why am I forgetting his name all of a sudden?
Danger, Will Robinson.
But, you know, that's what Alpha looked like in the TV series, so it was kind of like, yeah, it's an outdated kind of robot-y early look. This one did look more like it was... I don't want to say Transformers. It's fucking Transformers. Save that for the spoilers. This is Transformers. Oh man. Okay. Yep, we'll hold off from him. But as far as his character, again, I think a product of his time. Alpha 5 of the TV series was what you would think of again as a character robot. Hey, he doesn't understand humor. You know, things of that. Then he's got to learn these different things and emotions and stuff as the years go on. This one kind of seemed like he was, you know, the smartass that you'd pull out of any TV series nowadays. Then,
of course.
That he knew, he's got all the kind of like feeling of referencing or stuff like that. He's just that character then that felt like, you know, I'm going to be a smartass to you. I never saw Alpha as being that way. I didn't expect to see Alpha like that in the movie then.
I mean, I kind of like this Alpha, but as much as I would love to see some elements from the original Alpha, I think this is the Alpha that I would love to see in more of the films. Like
I think they did do a good job of setting up for the future this way. So I'm not going to say let's not see Power Rangers 2. I'm not going to say that. I'd love to see it because I want to see how they build on this world now they created. Because at the end of the day, this movie was more of the world building. It was episode 1 of the TV series in a 2-hour block. So now you built your world. Now let's get into the action then of the complex storylines. So like, you know, the Green Ranger storyline. Let's get into Zed showing up then. Let's get into maybe the Ninja. They probably will be at the Ninja Zords a few movies down the road. They'll probably go through the original 3 seasons, I think, at some point.
That would be nice.
Because I don't think they'll do the Green Candle, you know, mini bits. I don't know how they're going to handle that just because of the way they've set up everything.
Yeah, it's going to be like they would. I feel like if they did that in the second movie, it would feel kind of short for someone like the Green Ranger.
No, I think the next movie entirely just has to be Green with Evil. It just has to be those episodes in a movie now, where it's all the way until the end.
Yes, we are all worried about the sequels for this movie. Thank you, Doc Blade.
Yeah, I can't read the comments, guys, so I wish I could have. I wanted to, so I could respond to everybody, but that's what I got 0 for. You can call out weird shit that shows up in the chat when I'm not looking. So we went through. I think we got all the characters pretty much at this point. You know, a severe lack of 2 characters I wanted to see, but I want
2 characters.
2 characters I wanted to see, and that brings me back to the music. I thought this music would have been more badass. There was really 1 or 2 moments where it felt like this is Power Rangers as far as music. The rest of it, again, the music sounded very generic to the point of a setup where if you take the Power Rangers namesake off of this, it would have did better as a movie, just because there wasn't enough nostalgic music connection, in my opinion, than I would have thought there would have been. I thought there would have been, you know, more to the original background music and the original theme song than there was in the entire 2-hour and 5-minute running time of a movie.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, the music kind of feels a little bit off. Even for a Power Rangers film, like there's only like two musics that I can hear that fits Power Rangers, and that is one of them is the theme music.
Yep.
Which is again fitting.
You had to have it in there. Like if you didn't have that in there, heads were gonna roll at some point.
Yeah, like it's like having like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles without its theme music.
It's all like you need is probably the thing that I best related to is, the Inspector Gadget movies were bad kind of movies. Broderick, things of that, the live actions. But when you freaking heard that mix at the beginning of the movie, you thought you were going to be in for something awesome, just because that fucking music is so identifiable and amazing. The Inspector Gadget theme, it's a huge identifiable movie. You didn't get that at the beginning. The start of this movie, you did not feel like a Power Rangers movie at all. I would have thought then that you would have just the music start setting it up almost as if it was an intro to the TV show. But no, the music didn't do that right away.
Nope. Just no.
Just generic.
I'm just hoping that if they ever do the next movie, please bring back Ron Wasserman. Please bring back Ron Wasserman.
Yeah. That would be a good one to have, at least to keep it going. I think what they're gonna do is they're gonna phase out the parents. They're gonna start just focusing on the teens again.
Hey, as long as I get my Go Green Ranger theme music, I'll be fine. Like
that probably will not show up. I am skeptical about them utilizing Go Green Ranger.
Hey, I want that theme music. That is my favorite music from Power Rangers. That is like my childhood.
Because you got to think about if they do use it, they're going to do some sort of weird mix with it. Then that's going to be the Evil Ranger theme. So it's going to be Evil Green Ranger mix for that, because I still predict the next movie is going to be mainly focused on Evil Green Ranger the entirety until the very end. Because what are you going to do with the Power Rangers? We know Goldar was the main monster of this movie. Again, the toys kind of threw it there. What are you going to have for the monster of the next movie? Well, if you're going to do Evil Green Ranger, it's got to be Dragon Zord. Are you going to have them team up at the end to fight something else? Are we going to be trying to do a Spider-Man thing here where the main villain is Green Ranger until the very end, some other side monster character shows up? Or is it going to be like episode 2 of the TV series where Bones is the main villain, and then you have the Dark Knight shows up at the very end then, just to be, it's a monster because we didn't let Bones grow.
Just as long as they don't try to make it look like Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice.
I've got enough other movies that I think are going to be like that. Kong versus Godzilla. Kong and Godzilla, I think, will be something like that.
Hey, it's going to be awesome.
It's going to be the turnaround moment all of a sudden when Ghidorah comes back or something like that. Because there's got to be something that is going to get Kong and Godzilla to fight together. Because you're never going to have that same ending, I think, that the original Kong versus Godzilla had, where everyone says, well, Kong won, or there's 2 endings to the movie. I have said this for fucking years. You still hear Godzilla's roar, even in the background then. You hear Kong's roar, but no, there's if you go into the audio a little bit more, you also hear Godzilla's roar kind of mixed in with that. He's fucking underwater because he can be, and Kong's doing his thing because he's a freaking mammal that has to swim. So he had to come up. Godzilla's chilling down because he's got another movie coming up. So he's got to be away for a while until we get the next movie. So they got to explain that because then Kong went ahead and did his own movies with Mecha Kong, and and then you had Godzilla. So
okay, I will agree on that with Doc Paladin, what he said about saying TMNT isn't that far off from the Rangers.
Again, I think. That could be a curse. I think that maybe TMNT and it's Transformers all over again. Michael Bay, freaking Bay. That this movie could be, if the next movie gives us more nostalgia, just like Turtles 2 did. out of the shadows. Oh, look, we got Krang, we got, Bebop Rocksteady, we got all these, here's everything from the show, guys, here it is. But it still failed in the end. I don't want Power Rangers to be that way. Hey, here's the Green Ranger, here's the Dragon Zord, here's all the fun stuff. And then the movie still comes down being short. So it's very possible that Power Rangers can suffer the same issues that Turtles did. The same issues that I think Transformers is doing too, where they've gone off a fucking deep end at this point. Hey, let's add some more stuff, old Primes, all the other stuff of the TV show. Let's put fucking Unicron in there. And at the point, you're trying to keep making people happy, and then more explosions, and then it makes money, because people will still go see it, just for the sake of fucking seeing it. But I think that Power Rangers can have the Curse of the Turtles element to it as well.
No. No. The next movie should not be directed by Michael Bay. No, that would be wrong. Michael Bay doing a Power Rangers movie is like... Michael
fucking Bay actually probably would have made the movie better, because he would have focused on the fucking explosions and shit that happened. Remember all the fucking Sentai footage? Explosions just blowing up as they fucking morph. It's just explosions everywhere. Michael Bay probably fucking grew up with Power Rangers in his life, and that gave him the goddamn idea to have fucking explosions whenever something just randomly happens.
Hey, the only time there were more explosions was during the days when SPD was around. That was when we had a lot of fucking explosions.
Well, it was a lot of explosions, but it was also just for no reason explosions. Why did stuff have to blow up when they morphed and went into their stance? That made no sense, but it was fucking awesome, to grow up with. It's not as awesome nowadays because it's too overdone than in media. That was a TV show that was like a pioneer of let's blow fucking everything up like nuts, for absolutely no reason whatsoever. And I like how the Critic parodied that. If ever you watched the Critic TV show with John Lovitz, then when he did the animated TV show and he was always critiquing movies, they had this one scene where you got characters with all their cops, and then the leprechaun explodes for no apparent reason. That's what we loved about the era, though. That was TV, that was movies at that point, because it was sort of new and to be parodied about. But then now 2014s, things of that nature, it's overdone at that point. Okay, so I think we've kind of expressed the entirety of sort of thoughts on the movies without going too much into spoilers. So now, for those who are here, I'm sure you don't give a fuck, so you're going to stay here anyways then and watch us bitch about the spoilers. So here's your 10 seconds here quick to click off. And if I keep this uploaded once it's finished here, hooray! Then you'll be able to watch the spoiler bit. But we'll give you a few seconds to click off and leave us alone or mute us, so you just see us waving our arms and being stupid dumb shits.
And then I'll end up saying that it's time to talk about spoilers.
So, 10 seconds are about up.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, spoiler time.
Hello, welcome to the spoiler section. Just kidding. We'll be talking about Star vs. the Force of Evil's final episode.
We are not talking about that. We are not talking about that. I'll have an intellectual discussion about the ending of Star Butterfly Season 2. But not here. Not here. I've got so many fucking spoiler bits that I gotta go over. It's sickening. First thing I gotta point out, remember when I was saying that there was, I didn't know if this movie wanted to be, for kids or for the older adults? Okay, so we had the starting scene. I think it was a good idea. Let's have the Rangers then. Let's have Zordon be the original Red Ranger. I'm fine with that. I am absolutely fine with that. All the other Rangers dying? Him dying? I thought, okay, now we're doing the mature audience role, right? Right? It's going to be a mature, strong, tough movie. How'd you think about that scene?
Kind of reminded me of that Power/Rangers fan film that was shown on YouTube a while back. I got exactly that feeling. I thought that they stole right from that,
because that came out quite a little bit before they were starting to really work on this movie. And I think that's what they stole that idea from then, was say, hey, we need a more grittier. We're not going to let the teenagers get too gritty, but let's have, all these alien creatures and Zordon himself. Let's just, boom, obliterate them. And of course, Zordon caused the mass extinction of the dinosaurs, because he said, yeah, fuck you guys. I am so pissed off right now at Rita that bam, fuck the dinosaurs. We're gonna drop the asteroid then. That probably woke them all out.
And then we
had well, let's hold it a little bit more. Then we had Green Ranger Rita, and I saw this. As soon as you saw that outfit, you knew that was going to be the case. Oh, she must be the old Green Ranger. She's got the freaking power coin. It's just another retelling of how did she get the power coin. Oh, she had it to begin with. She was the Green Ranger. And for some reason, hey, look, I'm power hungry. I turned evil. But now it kind of defeats the Green Ranger, the Green with Evil storyline, because, well, now we've already had an evil Green Ranger. It was fucking Rita the whole time. So what are you going to do? Have Tommy be evil for a little bit then, too, with an evil Rita? When it first showed up with the Green Ranger, it was kind of like, oh, yeah, it's mysterious evil, but then you found the backstory that, oh, Rita stole the dragon coin, tainted it, things like that.
I would have my own theory about how this happened, but I would save it once after we get towards a certain part where we have Rita going up against the Megazord, because I kind of have my own thoughts of how Rita would go power hungry for this. Okay, yeah. So kind of we'll just keep walking through sort of the movie in general. I think that'll be a good way of doing the spoilers. So, someone's going to sue us because we're spoiling the movie too much for them. You go like, that's the idea of the spoiler. Go watch it. We're just two idiots talking about it. Yeah. So the whole premise of that first bit of the movie then is, the Zeo crystal then. So they stole a little bit of other lore from Zeo. And here's a crystal then, that this crystal gives life to the planet. If you steal this crystal, the whole planet will die. So that's where I got my Captain Planet-y kind of thing. We got to save the planet and all of life on it. Hey, 5 gold planet, and the Megazord is Captain Planet or something like that. I started to feel that stupid vibe already right away. Then that it kind of felt that way, especially when you had the characters, the teenagers themselves. But I think then they had the Yellow Ranger dying. Right, if I remember. The Yellow Ranger died right there with Zordon, and I think that was a play for later on in the movie. Yeah.
Why they used the Yellow Ranger instead of any of the other colors.
I would say seeing the Yellow Ranger dying kind of felt kind of too dark for my taste.
And I was going with it saying, hey, it could work. I'm fine with this. It's going to be a very edgy, gritty thing, despite what I've seen in the trailers. Hey, we're going to be a little strong input to it. Then you start the next scene off with a fucking hand job joke.
I know.
I wrote that down. That was the first fucking thing I wrote on my book, on my notepad, and said, "This is it. This is it. They fucked it up. They fucked it up. They fucked it up."
Hey, they had to get that out of the way, because after all, it is supposed to be a reboot for children.
Oh, of course! A reboot for children! Hey! Well, you were milking it, man! You go like, it's a fucking dude, man! You go like, you son of a... Why did we need this? Why did we need that piece of dialogue? That already dropped my score from the starting point of a 10, dropped it right away to a fucking 7, in one goddamn piece of dialogue. Just dropped the whole movie like that.
Hey, if Alvin and the Chipmunks kept their pee and poop jokes, and if...
Power Rangers needed a hand job joke.
Would you...
Why did we need that?
Hey, would you rather have one of the freaking Rangers pee themselves?
No, but I didn't see this movie going that route with potty humor like that. But again, I didn't see it go freaking that far adult then. Hey guys, right after the huge death scene of Zordon dying and all the other Rangers dying and Rita getting smashed by fucking meteorite, shit like that, go like, I know what's good. Let's start off with a hand job joke on the next scene. Right after you see the title. Power Rangers. Go like, right in the corner, bottom corner of the screen. Power Rangers. You remember the fucking intro? You had a big ass lightning bolt shoot down Power fucking Rangers. And this, man, it was like fucking Cloverfield. Cloverfield.
Yeah, it's just...
Okay, so that gets me past like the first part where I was going like, oh, okay, good son of a bitch, fuck, this is gonna be horrible. Okay, so then we start off with, of course, Jason being our main character.
Of course.
Who's
the ex-supposed quarterback for a football team?
Yep.
For the Angel Grove.
Oh, he had everything. He could have been, and then he fucked himself over, by doing stupid shit. And then we move right into a scene. I saw that car accident happening, and I was going like, how the fuck does he have nothing? Not a scratch. He's freaking rolling around in this car all slow motion like then. I hate shaky cam. It's overused too damn much. This movie used a hell of a lot of shaky cam. That pissed me off.
Hey, they did shaky cam during RPM.
But this is a fucking movie where I want it to be a little bit more stable so I can see things. I get shaky. We're going that way. I can't fucking keep up with that at some point. I'd like to watch my movie, not think I saw something. So there's a lot of shaky cam in this movie then. At times that, fine, it makes sense, but there's no reason you have to. This is a fucking movie universe. We don't need to have the shaky cam. It's been overdone. Cloverfield, all these other fucking things, point of view shaky cam shit. I don't need that anymore. So we go from that right into Breakfast Club.
Of course.
It's fucking Breakfast Club.
We have our boy Jason in the detention center with, of course, some of the main rejects who got into detention. And we also meet with our Blue Ranger, Billy.
Who's there, but he shouldn't be there. I'm telling you, it's Breakfast Club. It was breakfast. It was Captain Planet, Breakfast Club, and then a couple more other things I'll get into. But this is like a hodgepodge mesh-up then. They're already starting by stealing from other famous nostalgia-like kind of scenes. So the first part of the movie, we have something that looks pretty epic, a fucking hand job joke, and now we've run into Breakfast Club. So I am 3 different directions. This is why I'm saying I don't think they knew what audience they wanted within these first, 10 minutes. We've got 3 different directions I could have seen this movie going in.
Of course. And then after that, we get introduced to our Pink Ranger, Kimberly.
And of course, she's not, just the regular popular kid. She's was popular, but now, she misunderstood. Naughty, now we're gonna not be your friend anymore. Clip.
All because of a certain little photo.
That we never see! I want to see this fucking mysterious photo! That's what's gotta be on the internet! So I can see... It's like, hey, we got this thing. This was a really bad thing he did, and you never find out exactly what was on the photo. We get implied kind of some ideas, but like I never fucking know what was on that photo. I want to know.
I kind of knew what that photo was, given
but
how
you
the
didn't.
Was planted.
You did know, but you didn't, because they didn't explicitly say it, but they kept trying to tiptoe around it as much as they could, and they kept explaining it throughout the whole fucking movie. Hey, you should have did something bad. Oh, it was a photo. Oh, it was, this girl with the photo. Oh, we had to sit there then, and her dad had to see this photo. What was this fucking photo? At this point, you just kept playing it up through the entire fucking movie. Half the movie was talking about this.
But still, yeah, I mean, we had that, but still, them not being friends with Kimberly actually gave her a bad, basically just her going through a bad time with that, because after her 2 friends left her and just cut her off the middle, they literally cut the photo,
cut her out of a photo and then stick the photo on the wall with the scissors. Boom! I feel like, oh my god, this is like Psycho Killer kind of, we're back serious again, right? Maybe she's going to commit suicide, slit her wrist, something like that. You kind of get that in her eye, and then she just cuts her hair.
Yeah.
Oh, look at her. She's gangster now.
Yeah.
So now we pick up out of the detention element, and now Billy tries to befriend Jason. He says, "Hey, come do this thing with me," because he stood up to the bully for him. That was there for all of 3 minutes that anybody gave a shit about. So you go like, "Was that supposed to be our Bulk and Skull moment? That idiot?" Yeah, sure. No Bulk and Skull. That's what we were back on. No Bulk and Skull in this movie, you sons of a bitches. They were half of the reason I'd watch the non-Sentai footage. The American footage was the fucking see Bulk and Skull be goddamn idiots. They followed the series for years. Their characters. They are an intricate part of the Power Rangers fan base. How did they not exist in this universe? As themselves. I mean... Just give me a cameo of the actors, though. The original actors that played Bulk and Skull. Why couldn't we have a cameo? I didn't see that of them. I saw cameos. We know there was cameos from the original cast.
Save those cameo talks for the end, and save that for the Easter eggs.
Oh, yeah, Easter eggs. Yeah, those are real Easter eggs.
Okay, but anyway,
So now we've reached to the point where Billy is trying to help Jason out.
Just trying to help Jason with. Well, because of that little incident Jason did, he has been claimed AKA house arrest because of it, and he has this little brace thing on his little foot leg. So if he's not home by a certain time, he'll end up getting locked up. But Billy knows a way how to bypass it, so that way he'll be in the clear.
You see? Because we're already establishing Billy is the smart kid.
And because of that, Billy wanted to ask Jason a favor if he could bring him to a certain mountains that him and his dad used to go.
Yep, and okay. So Dad's already dead for Billy. Oh, well, there we go. Sad story. He loved his father. They did something. You know what's going to happen with his character, though. He's going to now find friends that are going to fill the void from his dad in his heart. So that cliche was already set up pretty fast then. A lot of the characters' cliches were set up. That's why I'm saying the actors did well, but the writing was horrible for it. Because you already knew Jason's character, he was going to be kind of like the bad, quarterback, fell apart. He's going to find his new team as the Red Ranger. Kimberly, she's the misunderstood now girl. She did a horrible thing, but she's going to learn to forgive herself at the end. And Billy, he's shy kind of thing, fills the void with his new friends. 3 characters, I already knew where they were going to end up at the end of the movie. And that's exactly where they ended up.
And how Jason found Kimberly is quite weird. We end up seeing Kimberly about to jump towards the water, the ocean water. It was
a swimming scene, and I'm trying to remember. I know they stole that from another movie too, where you had the guy just kind of show up, the girl's undressing then in her underwear then. So kids movie, adult movie, someone tell me. Jumping into the water, then diving, and then she doesn't come back up. Hey, Kim. Oh, there she is behind you. Oh, cliche. I knew that was coming too.
They end up talking to each other, just having a few bits of dialogue until Billy uncovers something quite imaginable.
Boom! Explosions. There we go. There's my good explosion then. Just boom! Oh fuck it, shit! What happened? So that was a good setup to get him going there. But then all of a sudden, that's when we get introduced to our other 2 characters, because we were missing 2 people. We were missing Zach, and we were missing Trini. And, of course, now they are characters as well at this moment that just show up to this big explosion because they happen to be in the area.
Yep. And so after that, they found the quote-unquote something shiny.
Shiny! The precious is in this. I gotta say, to go back to like Zach's character, I did like Zach's character too. The way he presented himself, like, yeah, man, excited. He was like the guy that was in trying to do all the cool stuff,
just like the fun-loving sect that we knew from the original series.
Yeah,
you know,
they did well to fit that then, and Trini was more, zen, but they didn't try to do the same quote unquote mistake by that the original Power Rangers did. We're gonna be racist. We're gonna put the Asian in the yellow costume. We're gonna put the black guy in the black costume. They made sure to do the reverse, just so we can be clear. We're not racist. We'll have the Blue Ranger be the black guy, and we'll have the Asian be the Black Ranger. We'll sort them out in a way then that we don't get called out on being racist. So that's something I think they stepped out of their way to make sure that they weren't going to do that mistake that the original TV show did. Okay. So we continue on with them finding the power coins. Stupid fucking dialogue piece. Those fucking things look nothing like coins. They kept referring to them by coins even before Zordon says they're the coins. So they knew that they are supposed to be these power coins. Maybe they were like a talisman. Maybe they were just some ancient artifact. How did they know, hey, let's refer to these things as coins?
Maybe
that glow in the middle?
Maybe they think these are special edition glow-in-the-dark coins?
So that's one of the pieces of dialogue thing that just kind of was stupid. Was, okay, fine, you're going to be a little more realistic with the Power Rangers. I can see you're trying to do something a little bit different. How the fuck do they call them coins? And it just so happens that's exactly what Zordon calls them and everyone else. How did that just magically happen? Couldn't they said these things? Something happened with these things. I would have been happy with these things, but no, they call them coins every time, right away.
As long as the thing is round, you call it a coin?
I call it a coin, apparently. So, hey, did you see that fantastic flying coin? Did you see them coins on them rims? Those rims on them coins? Those coins on them coins! So that was the stupidest thing that I ever thought then, just kind of at that point, aside from, hand job joke. Next thing was that they kind of jumped the gun and are already starting to say, oh, let's use the dialogue from the show without setting it up proper. I'm sure a lot of people missed that. I caught that right away because those are the kind of things I pick up on is dialogue. And that was kind of a stupid idea then for it. Now, of course, they've been digging. They just blew this big explosion. Oh, shit, security guys, let's run, do another car chase. Same thing that happened at the start of the movie with Jason. Getting chased by the cops, driving. How does it end up? Everybody getting in the car, getting hit by a train. Another slow motion accident. So it's essentially doing the same thing at the start of the movie.
I like that scene, though, because I thought they were going to try to do this cliche where they thought they were going to get away and try to make sure they passed through the train, but... they got hit. I'll give them the balls for getting hit, but then when I saw that happen, I was going like, okay, they're connecting it to the first accident, and then they did the same thing again at the end of the movie. Just as an early comment with Jason's dad. Oh, he gets in an accident too, then car topples over. So they used the same thing 3 times with the slow motion camera then into the car for an accident. So they wanted to just destroy cars like 3 times in this movie then and just get a really good slow motion accident scene. But the thing that doesn't get explained then is how the fuck did they all get back in their rooms? Unscathed. Plot. Third thing. So we already talked about Captain Planet. And what else did I say this felt like? So it was Captain Planet. Breakfast Club. Now it's Spider-Man. The whole scene with the power coins then, with them all waking up, fucking taken directly from Spider-Man. Let's look in a mirror. Look at how muscular now more I look. Look at me accidentally breaking shit, ripping off a handle of a door then, busting a sink then because I feel a little sick then or something like that. So
it was Spider-Man. I started feeling Spider-Man. This whole movie, there's a whole bunch of points in it where I started to feel like I was watching something I've already seen before. That's another thing about the writing was bad. The writing was bad. The story, overall, what they're trying to do as a setup, I give them a pass on. That's why I gave it the 5. But overall, the bits and pieces were cliches from other movies that I had, or TV shows. So we have the whole scene where everybody's kind of freaking out a bit. We just focus on 3 characters, though, again. Really. We don't focus on Zach or Trini at all then until later. So this whole thing is just showing the 3. Billy, Jason, and Kimberly. So how they are being affected by this. But it doesn't... It's a plot convenience moment because it never gets explained in the rest of the movie. How did they get back into their beds and were unscathed? I was thinking maybe, it was... They got teleported there. Maybe that's the case. Maybe Zordon Alpha teleported them, but later on in the movie you find out that, Zordon wasn't even there yet. Like, he wasn't telling Alpha anything. So Alpha was all by himself. And we don't see another scene where maybe they get teleported at all. So
maybe the coins are symbiotes?
The coins carried them away? Maybe. And they did sort of allude to that, though, later on. That it was symbiotic with them. But another part to it then, so they all gather together, the 3 of them. Oh, look, we got back at our bully. The bully Bulk and Skull wannabe, punching Billy in the face. Again, Spider-Man. Right out of Spider-Man then, with the bully scene then, when he just gets his powers then, watching the, spider sense. That was a cool effect, but it felt, oh my god, it's fucking Spider-Man.
I think we left out something else after we have Jason waking up, right? Like, did we forget about the mention because of them getting the power coins that somehow we awaken Rita?
Oh, yes! Thank you for bringing this up. Huge draw away from the movie. We cut from they get the power coins. Then we cut to the fisherman who, oh my god, had to be Jason's dad. Of course! Of course! I caught this right away saying, you son of a bitch, why is it gotta be like so connected? They lift Rita up from the bottom of the ocean then. And she has the power coin and her corpse is there and somehow gets revived from the power coin being right next to her in the same fishing thing. So what really woke her up? What in the end of the day, what woke her up? In the original TV series, she gets released from her trash can prison, her dumpster prison, and then Zordon says, we need some teenagers with attitude, get them so we can get the Power Rangers. This was the entire reversal. Because, they found the power coins, somehow that makes Jason's dad's fisherman boat pull Rita out of the entire fucking ocean after all these millions of years that she's been down there. That happens after they get the power coins? What? It's coincidental. Whereas at least in the original Power Rangers series, it was, hey, Rita's back. Now we need to get them. No, this is like either one happened at the exact same time, so they both happened at the same time. Convenience. Or they got the power coins first, and then that somehow caused destiny, time, illusion, ripple, whatever, to get her dug out of the ocean.
Of course.
Again, bad writing on that part because they're not connecting things properly. Just like, it's a coin! We'll be going back here soon in a second. Just my recording software cut out then for some reason. Wow, did Peter just finally get around to clicking that follow me? Oh, shoot. Peter over at JList then. He's always had my VN Critic account set up with me. Let's go. And like, damn it, you gotta have my other one too. Up yet?
Yep, it's up.
Perfect. All right, everybody who still maybe got back on or sort of not, kind of, whatever. Yep, that was my recording software kind of cut out all of a sudden, said stopped working. So so where were we on our part? So we kind of talked about the Rita thing.
Yeah, I was talking about my theory saying that since the Rangers found the power coins, because it's my theory that when the coins were in the ice, I think maybe they were not active, and that's why the green power coin didn't went active either, because since all of them are connected.
Well, yeah, I can see that, but that has nothing to do with how her carcass was hauled in the fishing boat. Like, that's... Why is there no other fishing boat at any other point in history, ever pull up her body? I could understand if they went to a cut of her being underwater, and then the coin activated, and then that brought her back to life. Why did we have to bring her in on a fishing boat first that's run by Jason's dad to then have her power coin get activated? So it was just one of those little stupid plot convenience moments that I disliked. One of the convenient parts that I did like, though, was in a second here, let's kind of roll back through. So they all gather after the incidents of them finding out they have these powers. They all gather back at the same spot, and oh, look, here's Zach and Trini then, too, at the spot, trying to figure out what happened to them. And then they do the jump scene. That's all, because they all have superpowers. I'll have to say... It's New Age, I'll give them this. I was a little skeptical about this because one of the fun things about Power Rangers was they were normal kids who knew martial arts. Mm-hmm. That's why they got picked. And they could fight for themselves without their armor, because they knew martial arts. But they could get tied up or things of that. And, hey, without the morpher, without the power coin and without their morpher, they had a hard time. They didn't have their increased strength or their abilities to... jump. Their kind of quote-unquote superpowers came from being morphed. Otherwise, they were just normal kids who knew martial arts. In this case, it was that Spider-Man-y thing where let's give the kids just the superpowers, and then the suits are just like an Iron Man throw-on that just gives them a little bit more increased durability.
Kind of reminds me of the civilian powers they did back during Dino Thunder and SPD.
Yeah, I didn't like that idea about it. I think it was all because anybody could be a Power Ranger because you could pass on the coin or the crystal or the morpher or things like that, and then you had to take that power and make it your own. Whereas in this case, it seemed like we were talking about symbiotic. Like, the power coin gave them these super special abilities then. Because you barely see the power coins throughout the rest of the movie. You don't see much out of them.
Except for Rita's.
Yeah, you see hers very clearly then. Throughout the entirety then. You can see it glowing all the time. That's where she's getting her power from that, but she's supposed to have her own powers too. As a sorceress, a space sorceress. She's supposed to have her own capabilities. Because now that she, and we'll get... I'll hold off on this. We're still moving through. So we'll talk about this in a bit. Keep moving on. So they jump over the gap. They then fall by accident into the entrance to a cave, which has seismic properties. Oh, look, with the water we get through. And then a spaceship! A spaceship!
And before we had all of that, we end up having good old Zach and Billy play that little reference. Remember? When we talked about the racism thing?
Right. Yeah. Black? Yeah, I'm black. You're not black. You go like, I'm black. See, look at I'm glowing. I'm glowing, man. I'm glowing black. Go like, so that was, I'll give them that. That was actually a little bit humorous then to play out that idea. So that was a good piece of the writing. And then the next good piece of the writing was when they're at the alien spaceship, Jason's holding up the power coin and the ship door opens. Because that was part of the coins granted them the admission into the command center. So that was a little subtle thing that I actually am surprised they picked up on and put it there. So that, again, hey, maybe they're going to start, catching some things up, make it a little bit good. I want to see what the viewing globe looks like, things like that. That will be in this ship. And then we get into the ship, and, it's awesome. Look at this thing. It must be millions years old, whatever.
I really did like the the inside of the spaceship. It feels so futuristic.
It did feel futuristic. You didn't have that in the command center, but of course it was supposed to be, hey, it was low budget 80s
Batman,
cheesy Batman cave kind of thing. That's what you needed for the time. So, okay, I'll let them have that. Evolve it with the time. They're from space. Makes sense. So we get that. Then we get our introduction of Alpha 5. Of course.
A very subtle introduction.
Stalkerish. Again, next movie they borrowed from Alien. Oh, shoot, he got me, or something. I'm getting pulled, man. What the hell's happening in here? Something's gonna kill me, or something like that. Oh, and then you find out it's an Alpha 5 that knows everything. Wisecracking Alpha 5 knows everything. Not out of touch with the times is the way that he felt like, making the same stupid, cracking jokes like that, then sarcastic remarks. Come on this way. I was expecting you. Finally. To go like that. So then it made me think that Alpha didn't, put them in their beds or whatever. Because otherwise he would have just brought them right there. I don't think he would have saved them from the train crash and then put them in their beds. So again, we're still at that plot, the convenience for some reason again. So their bodies got somewhere then, but the car was still smashed up, if you recall, when they drove back. So you're like, so you couldn't just say that they all got back. It was a flash moment, and the car was fine. Nobody knew what happened. Like, Alpha fixed the car, and nobody was going to find out. Somebody had to fucking find out that van got crashed. How did Billy's mom not find that out the rest of the freaking movie? So now we're into that point where we're going to get the introduction of Zordon. Stand here. Zordon, can you hear me? So for all these years, Zordon had no idea that he was going to be that he was stuck. His soul was stuck in the ship, apparently.
Yeah, the Matrix.
Yeah, so this Matrix, the wall. I stuck him in the wall. That's what Alpha 5 did. To save you, I stuck your essence in the wall. And Zordon didn't know this for, eons then, since the events of the start of the movie happened. So it's not like Zordon was waiting there and knew what was all going on, all-powerful wizard warrior kind of character then. No, his soul was kind of trapped in a wall, and it needed all the 5 Rangers to come together for him to now be revived as a face in a wall.
Yeah. We'll get to more about this sort of thing when we get later on into the later on.
I didn't get to hear the awesome line though. Alpha 5 teenagers with attitude. You didn't get that again because the coins came before the need to find teenagers because no Rita was there yet. Oh, that's my phone. I'll wait for that for a bit. Where was I now? So,
we were talking about Zordon.
So Zordon makes his appearance. Ship's shaking. Oh my god, what's going on? A face in the wall, and it's Brian.
Brian Cranston.
Because, and who is these? These are the new Rangers. New Rangers. Look kind of small. Well, they're somewhere between children and adults. They call them teenagers. And they speak a weird dialect because they start talking in alien tongue. They speak an old dialect called English. What does that even mean? Old dialect called English. Does that mean English existed before Zordon in the Paleozoic era? English existed on some foreign planet that it's now a primitive form of communication? It's not like, we're talking telepathically to each other, and that's like the new advanced form of communication where we don't need to use our mouths for vocal dialect. You guys are just using a different language. It's still dialect using your mouths. So, auditory. So it's nothing. That was a little bad writing there too, to not connect it proper. Especially when you go Alpha knows all of these languages apparently too, because he's got nothing better to do than watch TV probably to learn how to act as a side character.
Which does bring up the explanation on why he's such a wisecrack.
So now we got that moment, and apparently, so Zordon was sleeping for eons, and he knows that Rita's back. magically know she would be back then? Oh, we got 11 days to prepare. How? How do you just like now know this all of a sudden? You just got woken up after all these years. Then how were you sentient enough to know what was going on the side that Rita was going to be back? You're going to have 11 days, etc. Things like that. How did this all get figured out? And then at the same time, you had no idea your essence was stuck in a wall for eons. And
basically after that, we end up knowing that the Rangers only have 11 days. Basically, the only way to stop Rita is for all 5 of the teenagers to become the Power Rangers. Only one problem is the Morphin Grid, which, again, we don't know much about the Morphin Grid in this one.
Not in this one, yeah.
But according to what the Morphin Grid said, it needs the 5 teenagers to be true to themselves or help build up their friendship,
Yeah, whatever it is. You gotta become a team, is essentially what it is. You gotta rely on each other. That's the only way you're gonna be able to access the Morphin Grid.
And if they don't...
No, you didn't need to be defensive with the things. You go like, they were just, let's say the original TV series, they were okay, they were friends to begin with, so to speak. In this case, they had to try to force, use that 2/3 of the movie I talked about to force character development. But you go like, well, that's the only way you can access the Morphin Grid. How the fuck did Tommy just do it then? He showed up. He wasn't necessarily their friends in the TV series. Green Ranger, done. You go like, did we need some sort of special access to the Morphin Grid? How the fuck was Rita drawing on the Green Dragon Coin's power then, without her friends, to be the other people then to connect with the Morphin Grid? It was already starting off, so this is, again, we can't put them in the Power Ranger suits yet. It's too early in the film. We gotta wait longer. So what do we gotta do? We gotta create an excuse for why they can't go into their costumes yet.
And if they can't get into their costumes in 11 days, Rita would end up using her monster, Goldar. Literally, a monster made out of gold.
And this was fun, because now that Rita was back then, so she got revived, another reference that this movie made me think of, for anybody who watched DuckTales, the original pilot episodes, you had the gold. That's how Rita felt that entire first half of her character. That she's just, I need the gold. I'm going to eat the gold. The gold is the gold.
So yeah, if they don't stop her, their world's gonna get screwed over, because again, she's after the quote-unquote Zeo Crystal.
Mm-hmm. The Zeo Crystal, life, power, all that sort of things. Oh, and let's recall the mine that they went to, the kind of like the excavation site. Oh, remember, that was hinted at earlier. It's a old gold mine. Remember, that was on the sign then when they were driving there, so... Oh, geez, I wonder how that's going to come into the gold moments when we need to build a giant golden monster.
So while the others were trying to, get ready for Rita
fighting holographic putties. Remember, they got the fucking holodeck. It's Star Trek too. They got the holodeck. How are we gonna fight these things? Well, I was expecting them to hit a big Z on the chest too.
Yeah, that
he said.
That's too ridiculous.
Let's hit ZZ. So they do that. Oh, training montage, more sarcastic. So it's an 80s training montage of scenes. So we got that covered for movie cliches.
Again,
and at the same time, Rita's getting gold!
Collecting gold from nabbing somebody's golden tooth. Yeah, she actually nabbed somebody's golden tooth, just like in that one movie, the Leprechaun 2. She literally rips the gold tooth out of the hobo's freaking...
Yeah, he rips that out, and then... for Leprechaun, then when the guy swallows the gold coin, then he rips into the guy's stomach, then in original Leprechaun, to get the coin out that he swallowed. Kind of felt like, that's how obsessive she is with getting all this gold.
And then after that, you have her robbing a jewelry store. where
she's bulletproof, apparently.
Yeah, which is funny, which I find it kind of ironic. It actually solves my question why nobody hasn't shoot Rita up in the moon. Oh wait, no, because bullets are immune to witches, don't you know?
Bullets are immune to witches. Well, we should burn the witch, was it?
And I know it's not just me saying this, but when you see her just leave the jewelry store just explodes, and I don't know if I'm thinking about this, but I think she killed those. I mean,
she kills. She kills, and I'll give them that one step up. They're ballsy enough to have Rita Repulsa fucking kill someone, which you don't see happen in the TV show. Then,
she killed 2 cops, a hobo, and possibly 3 civilians in that jewelry store.
Yep. So, and then all the people that I'm sure died from Goldar later on.
Of course.
Everybody doesn't survive something like that if you're going to be that realistic now. So now that we've established this is their training montage, this is her training montage getting stronger.
We also got Billy trying to find the Zeo Crystal before Rita does.
Yep, kind of off on the side. I mean, it just says, hey, we got to find the Zeo Crystal. Hey, look who found it. Nobody. How didn't Zordon know where the fuck it was? Right, that's where it was supposed to be. It was right there.
I guess me.
And Alpha didn't know where it was. I thought they knew exactly where it was because we saw the Zeo Crystal in the first part of the movie. It was there, right there, where the coordinates that Alpha struck the meteorite on. We saw the ship crash land. It was a good beginning part. Go where the Zeo Crystal is then at that point. It's just the Rangers were defending it, and then Zordon gave up his life, covered up the coins, and meteorite shows up all of a sudden. So Zordon can essentially tell Alpha to control meteorites, despite being in a crashed ship. So he's got his wizard powers here. But then we gotta go realistic with the alien technology, coin powers. I was a Red Ranger. I like the idea for that, though, but you mix too much realism idea trying to be versus mystic.
It's really weird at the fact that the teenage nerd ended up finding out where the Zeo Crystal is.
Oh, like that. Where was it? Where was it? At the Krispy Kreme! The Krispy Kreme! It was at the Krispy Kreme. There was so many fucking word Krispy Kreme. I swear to God, Krispy Kreme paid for this movie. They paid for this movie. The entire budget was funded by Krispy Kreme. It's one big, long-ass Krispy Kreme commercial.
Yep. You can just imagine them actually paying half of the budget.
Krispy Kreme was said more in this movie than Power Rangers. I literally, if I went back and watched this movie again and counted, I swear to God, Krispy Kreme probably was said more than the term Power Ranger.
David, that if the Cinema Sins does that.
That's probably what it will be one of his sins. Krispy Kreme more than the namesake of the movie is said. I can understand the word "the" being used a lot. I can understand the word "and" being used a lot. But Krispy Kreme. Condensed in 5 minutes, it got said probably 10 times. In less than 5 minutes. Krispy Kreme. Gotta get to the Krispy Kreme. Hashtag evil Krispy Kreme. No, hashtag Krispy Kreme, source of all life.
Please know that this discussion is not sponsored by Krispy Kreme.
I think we've said Krispy Kreme too many fucking times. This is it's genius. It's gotten us to say Krispy Kreme how many times. Think if we were actually fucking popular saying this word.
It's like that the first movie of fucking Star Trek when we just have our leading lady just say she wants a Budweiser, not just a
Budweiser
beer.
Yeah.
That's
not bad. That's okay. That's how you do product placement a little bit right. A little subtle enough. Hey, yeah, it's a beer. Yeah, it's a Budweiser. It's like a commercial. A little bit, but it's not the whole fucking movie. It's not centered around a Budweiser. They didn't need to go to Planet Budweiser to find the hops elixir of life, of Genesis. No, they didn't need that in the movie. The source of all life, is at Krispy Kreme. Krispy Kreme. Oh. Where is the Krispy Kreme? That is not the Krispy Kreme. Where is the Krispy Kreme? Must find the Krispy Kreme.
Oh Lord, oh God, we're getting too off topic with the Krispy Kreme. We have to save that until we get to the movie, the ending, the final parts.
All right. So yeah, more Krispy Kreme at the end. But so let's say we've gotten to the past. We're almost at the end of the 11 days. We get to see the Zords. Oh, hey, here's a little inspiration for ya. Once you be able to morph, you'll be able to control your Zords. Go like, well then how the fuck did you contradict yourself with Zack driving the mammoth Zord that didn't even look like a mastodon? In my opinion, it looked more like a fucking Triceratops almost, like a tank with 3 horns, because you didn't really be able to see. You didn't see the mastodon's trunk then spraying out, coming out of the ice. Problem here was another piece of dialogue that I caught. Zordon said then, because he's in voiceover, so we don't even get to see Brian's face then. He's doing more voiceover half the movie.
Of course.
But, saying that these creatures took on the most powerful entities of their time, of the era. Go like, okay, so how the fuck does this explain how a saber-toothed tiger and a mastodon from an entirely different era in time after the meteor strike? So we had 3 dinosaurs and 2 mammals. How did... Again, the Rangers were gone. How did we get a mammoth and the saber-tooth at that point? Most powerful animals on the planet at the time of their creation. So was the mastodon and the saber-tooth the Yellow Ranger who died at the start? Was the Yellow Ranger Zord then crafted after the events of the start of the movie? Or was that not the meteor that struck out the dinosaurs? I don't know at this point. So it didn't make any sense at that point how the Zords were formed.
Oh, but we're getting to something that it's even more nonsensical when you have our good old pal Zack just, driving the Zord when suddenly he comes across a bus full of nuns.
A nun wagon, yeah. Why? Was that cinematically needed? Did we have to have some nuns driving down singing some tunes? When a mammoth Zord is floating behind you then? Did we really need that? Was that like the pinnacle that we needed to write into the movie? Who the hell wrote that part of the script? That we needed to have a bus full of nuns? Sure, why not? A bus full of nuns. Good movies have buses full of nuns all the time. I was starting to feel now like I was watching Naked Gun. Are these nuns going to have machine guns? Or going to go, what was that, Naked Gun, I think 33 1/3 was the ones with nuns with machine guns?
I think so, yeah. I think that was the one.
But, yeah, it was a nonsensical scene because we just also got told that, you'll only be able to use the Zords then when... You morph. And here's Zack then learning how to pilot it, right here and there.
Which is... And then once after that, we end up having Alpha questioning where is Zack? But of course, we see him drive the Mammoth Zord back in the headquarters, and then... Run,
until there. And then you get the fights. You go like, you dumbass idiot, kind of moments. You guys could have killed us. Hey, I don't have to listen to you. I do my own thing. This is awesome. Blah, blah, blah. Punch. And then, stop it, you're tearing us apart, says Billy. Whew.
More.
Wait a minute. Don't tell me that these fucking things are like Venom. They're like they just pop out of nowhere as a symbiote. Go like, where is my goddamn morphers? And the morphing scene, they sell those fucking morphers at the store and we never see them in the movie.
Yeah.
We go like, here's the morpher thing, whatever. This is how you're gonna morph. With this weird looking thing you gotta pull a stick on or something like that. Go like, that's how I was thinking, okay, maybe they're gonna morph then, and we're not gonna see the iconic I'm trying to remember how the hands went. So it's like this because it would be like a belt, so you'd have it on your wrist, and then it's like that then. So it was just like that. You go like, we didn't get to see the iconic morphing moment for anyone because, it's so hard to morph. and it's symbiotic to your body. And ooh, here it showed up. How did you do it? Come on, man. How'd you do it? I don't know. Did it? Do it again. Oh, thanks, Zordon. Do it again. Can you do it again? No, you're a bunch of idiots. Training's over. So,
Zordon.
Where is my loving, caring Zordon? Where's my loving, caring, for good for life, fatherly figure Zordon from the original movie? You're like a father to us. Why? I didn't get that from Brian's role again. They didn't give him a very comforting setup early on. They made him seem like he was an asshole.
And here comes when the more of the asshole he is once you found out his hidden agenda of why he wants them to morph.
Yep, and we want you to morph because that's the way I'm gonna get my soul through the morphing grid and come back to life.
And so he can finish the job to finish off Rita.
Yeah, because these kids, they ain't gonna be able to do it. So no longer is it get me 5 teenagers with attitude that are gonna be the Power Rangers, and they're gonna be able to do this stuff because I got faith in them and we're getting the right kids. No. Bunch of idiot teenagers. You aren't good enough. I need you to get me the hell out of here so I can fix this problem because I can't trust you guys.
I don't know. I think this kind of makes the Zordon in this one seem a little bit complex.
I think it makes them feel more human, but at the same time, my Zordon's not supposed to be human necessarily. My Zordon's a fucking, wizard of the galaxy then stopping evil menaces across time and space for eons. In this case, it made him feel more like he was just any other team leader, that anybody else could have been the Red Ranger, and maybe they had been for years and years and years. That anybody else could have taken up the mantle, which they do. In this case, Jason takes up the mantle as the Red Ranger. But then they play Zordon as being so much of an asshole at the beginning. Too human when he was supposed to be an all-encompassing, force of good. That was the idea behind Zordon, is like he is, the entity then that's the true force of good. Remember how he went out in Power Rangers. His goodness wave, so to speak, wiping out all the evil. I mean, him himself was so good that we had a Jesus Christ moment here. Yes, he's so good. He gave up his life for everyone else then to save the earth. I can't see this in him, except they pulled it off later on. They pulled it off. Asshole goes to be Jesus Christ.
So anyway,
so now that we are at the argument where, it's my team, I can't do it, go from there. So now.
So we have Jason and the others just hanging out in the near a campfire, talking about their problems, about, how their lives are affecting, and they talk about it.
Yeah, and they talk, and Zach steps up his game, and he's the first one to really push it. So that's why I like his character, though, of Zach's then, is that, he did have an emotional thing with his mother then. His dad's gone, he's taking care of her then, and that's kind of what he's doing, and he's worried about that the next day may be the last for her, and he'll be all alone. And that, he felt more relatable to the guy who didn't have any friends than Billy did at the end of the day, I think. Because that's kind of what he was. He was a loner guy and was worried, and he opened up early on, and he's the one that actually got them all to open up then.
Next, you have, of course, what people usually say it's a controversial thing, or it's not much of a controversial surprising, but we end up knowing about Trini's character.
Mm-hmm.
We end up learning that while Zach jokes on saying that, are you having boyfriend troubles?
Are you having girlfriend troubles? You're like, I felt like that one, it took away from what I just felt with how things were going, because now it felt more like a hidden agenda kind of thing. That, hey, we have to push this, we have to throw this in here. Why do we have to throw it in here? I can understand, it's a throwback to the actual cast then, with
Billy
Yost himself. And And I can see that. That's nice about it. But then they have to subtly slip it in there then, so to speak. Make it like, oh, it's not a big deal, but we're going to put it in there anyways to be more diverse. Again, product of its time. If you're not going to have a homosexual character then as a star, as a head character, then you're not going to do it so well in Hollywood anymore.
I wouldn't say that kind of character. I said maybe somebody who is sexually confused. Either she's,
Well, I'm not going to say sexually confused because, hey, I'm not going to tell anybody they're confused by thinking one way or the other. I look at it more from a cinematographer standpoint, that it was included just for the sake of that little bit of scene to stick out. Could her character be just as aloof then away from her family and misunderstood without it? Absolutely. We didn't need to put that in there to make it seem like she's just that much more misunderstood by her family. Oh, here's the mom throwing the drug little bottle there for her to pee in that cup. Yeah. There's your pee and poo joke. Hey, we gotta pee in the cup for the drug test then that they think she's on, because she outright says, hey, me and a couple guys, we went out there, I think we're superheroes now. And then the kids, the twin-leg kids, cool, awesome! And then the mom thinks she's on drugs. And then the dad's hey, don't push her so much. So now you got the dad being the sensitive one, and you got the mother being, again, it was a lot of the cliches of, You see a lot of movies over the years and see how things change. They tried to cram so much in there of, being the new age storytelling, but you lose parts of what just make a good story.
And then after that campfire scene, we have Jason just resting up, where we end up seeing who else pops into his room but Kimberly.
Yep. I'm a superhero. I can just jump up here and it's... whether invasion of privacy much, just showing up in my bedroom, girl. But it's supposed to be romantic.
She talks to Jason about her problem, about what happened with the girls, and also
the picture again. This picture I never fucking see. We had to bring that back into the plot after just dropping the whole misunderstood Trini plot line. We gotta bring this picture back.
Hey, I'm just glad they didn't try to add in that scene they had in the trailer.
The kissing scene? Oh, God. Yeah, I'm fine. I'm glad they took that out, especially because people are already vocal about if they're going to include Tommy in the later movies. Maybe doing it right where you don't have the Dear John letter. Dear Jane letter. I'll be better off seeing that not happen, because that was kind of a weird throw in the show. It was obviously used just because they wanted to change the characters up. They needed an excuse because she was leaving the series. But you don't need to do that in the movie. You don't need to get off Kimberly's character then and put somebody else in the place. You can now just keep Kimberly as the Pink Ranger for years to come. She doesn't have an excuse of, I want to be a gymnast, and that's why I'm leaving the show. That was for the show. You needed just ways to write off characters then out of the show. You don't need to write off characters in the movie series.
Of course.
These guys a lot of these guys are no names, so to speak, or smaller names. They're gonna want to keep doing this series if they're gonna make money on it and be known for it.
Well, we have Jason talking to Kimberly. We also got Trini having her perfect stranger sneak up into her room.
Exactly. Why did it have to be Trini? One, probably because that was a foreshadowing of showing the Yellow Ranger being the one to die then, before Zordon does. And two, because she's the controversial character then. What's she going to do? Is she going to turn on her friends? To join up then now because she didn't feel like she truly was understood by anyone? Maybe this Green Rita is the one that really does understand her? No, we get none of that, because immediately following that scene, everybody has to join together and say, Rita was trying to get me to betray all you guys.
I like that.
You liked that?
Hey, I was kind of glad that they didn't came up with that cliche. I mean, I've seen this kind of thing happen in movies sometimes. I mean, you have the friend betraying their friends because somebody's either daring them to do it, or they're blackmailing them, or that sort of thing. I'm just glad that was kind of a refresher for me to see that, not happen.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from on that. It is the same sort of idea as with the train scene, where the cliche would have been, yes, they did make it across the train in time, and the cops got held back, but they went with the bam, you're getting hit. I can see that as being the opposite in this case, but I never liked that cliche in particular at all. So just the idea that it was there, that we were going to have that, and now we're even setting it up bigger because we just got done with the scene where she was painted as the misunderstood character. Like, you knew, like, everything's set in stone. She's going to do the portrayal thing. It's like you put every thing going in that direction, and then all of a sudden you pull a whole 180. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. In this bit, the train was good. This one I don't think was a good 180 then all of a sudden to say, hey, this whole scene like 5 seconds ago was pointless at the end of the day. Because now you could have just had any other moment, any other reason to get the Rangers to go after Rita. They could have just been, mad at Zordon then. Jason could have rallied him like he did then at those later seconds. And what was it I was thinking about then? The way that they were raising up their fist. Zach was raising his fist, hand up like this. Back to Breakfast Club again. I was hearing the music play. They were on the football field like this. I heard the music playing in my head. Don't you forget about... I heard it playing in my freaking head. Just because, again, it had me in that mindset all of a sudden then. So, okay. Now we're there. Now we go after Rita.
Which apparently it became a trap.
Yes. Now we get a cliche, see? So we get rid of one cliche by having her say that, no, I'm not going to betray you guys. Rita's there. Let's go get her. And then we're back to the cliche. Haha, it was all a trap. I knew she wouldn't betray you guys. She would tell you where I was, and then I would capture you. So it was a reverse cliche, because she knew that she wouldn't betray the friends in this case, versus the normal cliche of she will betray the friends and lead them to this location.
Again, we have Elizabeth Banks at her over-the-top moments when she has the Rangers all tied up, all ready to be dunked into the river, ocean.
Which one of you will die first? La 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 la. One of you knows where the Xeno Crystal is. La la. How did she know one of them knew where the Xeno Crystal was? Where was she, like, looking in her crystal fucking ball to figure out that Billy was the one who knew where the Xeno Crystal was? How did she know that? Again, plot convenience. It's got to be in like a freaking extended cut or something here. How does she know that he was the particular one that knew where the Xeno Crystal was? Or is she a freaking mind reader at this point? Then why does she need to ask him where is the Xeno Crystal then if she can read minds to begin with?
And then we start the count on our favorite thing to talk about.
Absolutely. It's at the Krispy Kreme. Krispy Kreme. Krispy Kreme. Is this a special place? It's a dining establishment.
Okay.
Krispy Kreme being a dining establishment is like New York City being God's holy city. But so that's what we had, and then of course what do? Well, somebody's gonna die. Why? Because I want to be over the top. Well, Zordon will lose all respect for me if I leave you all alive. Why leave any of them alive? You're gonna fucking destroy the planet anyways. Why take the chance? Villain cliche.
And thus she ended up drowning Billy Boy.
And Billy Boy died. And that's the spoilers, folks. Billy Boy died.
And then, once after the other four Rangers got out, they made sure to take Billy to Zordon. And before they do that, a music gets played by it. The Stand By Me music.
Yeah. Oh, double Christ symbolism. I forgot. This is double Christ symbolism. Because when they get there, they're told, no, there's nothing we can do. We can't get him back. Can't get him back. Can't get him back. Can't get him back. Then all the Rangers, the other four, talk to each other. Man, I'd give my life up for you. He gave his life up for us. He was the true, because he morphed first. He was the true, Power Ranger. He looked at us. He would give up his life for all of us. I'd give up my life for all you guys. I'll give up my life for all you guys. I'll give up my life for all you guys. Zordon, the morphing grid. It's going up. That was the key word, right? Was to say that. But when they carried Billy in, it was like the Christ-styled thing, carrying him on each of the shoulder. Then the way he was kind of laid out on them kind of symbolized a little Christy kind of like he gave up his life for all of us, so that we would be alive. Then we got the morphing grid going. Let's do this. We'll pull it off. Zordon's going to come through now. Okay, they're going to get the full morphing grid. Zordon will come through. But no, he doesn't. Why didn't you come through, Zordon? Because only one can return. Hey, Billy! Jesus resurrected on the third minute. And Zordon was also a Christ figure because he gave up his ability for life to save Billy's life. So double symbolism, grotty thing, whatever there. That's just how I saw it. It's just like the Superman movie, Man of Steel. And the nostalgia critics version. I am Jesus! What's that? I am Jesus! You hear that? Yeah. It wasn't as strong in this one, but it was subtly hinted at. So Zordon gives up his life. Yeah, I'll stay in the wall forever. Only one can come back. But that throws another question. So Zordon is like God or something here? Or is the morphing grid God that it could just bring people back from the dead? Why don't we bring back the rest of the Rangers that died?
I have one theory about the morphing grid. But the only evidence I can get from the morphing grid is when there was an episode of season 2 where we have Alpha use the morphing grid to grow flowers.
Yeah, I mean, a connection to life, power, energy. There's connections to it there. But I think they overextended it. Hey, we need somebody to die. Guess another movie that this connected me to. Avengers! Hey, we're a bunch of team of superpowered beings, superheroes, that we have different personalities and we don't mesh together and we got to fight off this big baddie that's going to be coming here in Avengers. We got to get ready to fight them. But we're not getting along. Hey, look, Agent Coulson. Hey, he dies. Now we're all going to be, look at these bloody Captain America cards. We're all going to be good guys now and we're going to work together. And, guess what they did with Coulson? They brought him back. What did they do with Billy? They brought him back after the incident. So, another movie then I think they ripped parts of the script off of then. Avengers, getting the climaxy kind of scene there. So, now we get the full morph scene. Which, very anticlimactic. Because, again, I wanted to see the morph. I wanted to see them be able to just, fucking morph. Because what happened next? We got our power suits on now. We're walking all tough outside the door. Again, no teleporter, so apparently they're just going to walk outside the door. And what do? They get into the Zords, and we have our good music! Oh. Go! What do you want to hold it?
Wait. Before they go into the Zords, they fight off some putties.
Phooey, I don't want to fight off no putties right in here. It's boring putties. Worthless putties. This is so much cooler with armor. Putties.
The Rangers needed to face off against the putties.
They were things. They already fought holographic putties that could hurt them. It was not a threat to me then to have 1,000 more putties just swarming everywhere that were a thing from the Fantastic Fours all over the place.
Hey, the only difference between this and the TV show, we actually see one of the Rangers use a Zord to kick the putties' butts.
Yeah, but in that case, we're more realistic than here. I got a good idea. I'll get the Zord. Go like, yeah, actually, that is a good idea. I'll give it to you, Zach, you fucking genius, you. You actually are the smart one of this group when it comes to all this. Why the fuck are we fighting these all like here? Let's get the big fucking Zords out to fight the little small shrimps.
And then we get our good old Rita informing Goldar, telling him that to find the Krispy Kreme.
Got to find the Krispy. Okay. Oh, that's one big fucking tour. It's too late. Here's Goldar. He's got his gold wings for no reason other than Goldar had chicken wings. So we needed to give him gold-like wings just for the sake of the design to look similar.
And then we have our Rangers jump into the Zords, and thus we have...
Wait. One more. Goldar's design. Another movie. The Destroyer armor from Thor. That face, exactly like the Destroyer armor. Oh, he's indestructible. Walking otherworldly being thing. Being controlled by an evil magician. Destroyer armor.
I can't blame you for that. After all, one of the writers for Thor.
Yep, so there you go. Here's our character design for Goldar. What is he going to look like? Is he going to look like the Chicken Beast Man? No, he's going to look like the Destroyer armor.
Okay. And then we get the Rangers jump into the Zords, and thus we have
our 8 seconds of the Power Rangers theme, where it looked awesome. The Zords looked like shit as far as like this. It's better than PlayStation 1 graphics, but it wasn't PS4. It was PS2. So we moved from PS1 to PS2 graphics for the 2017 year.
And I may say this, though. I love how they kept the theme music. I love they kept the music the same as they did in the movie.
Yeah.
Because...
It was just a little tweak to it, so it was a remix. But that was the music I wanted to hear throughout the entire movie. I wanted to hear nostalgic music like that, and I had to wait 4/5 of the film to get to that point.
I wouldn't say they remixed it. They just used the movie version of it, and to tell you the truth, I see what they did there because, let's face it, Ghostbusters theme music was a remix. Transformers, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, let's face it, I think Saban really did his homework when it came to trying to not remix their own theme musics. Well, unless if you're counting the Neo Saban era openings.
Yeah, I'll give it to that. That was one of the best moments of the film because now you're getting into the action. We're seeing the Zords run just like we did when they got called the Zords. I miss that part where you got to call the Dino Zords out. That was always an awesome part of the show. You'd see the T-Rex rising up from the volcanic crack in the earth. The pterodactyl blast out of a volcano. The mammoth out of an iceberg. Sabertooth coming from the jungle. That was badassness, I think, where it was just so much fun to see that happen all the time. The Triceratops coming from the desert. You go like, it was just awesome cinematography for something so old. In this case, you didn't even see that. You just saw them, there they go. They're doing the running, but that was good too, because you saw that scene in the opening and the ending credits of the Power Rangers all the time. Here's the Zords running then here in this straight line as they're running to where they have to go. So that was, but the Rangers were already in it, so you didn't get to see them jump up then and make their way into the Zords. This is the symbiote thing though too, because then they explain that the reason that they know how to maybe run the Zords and stuff is because they're plugged directly into them. Because that was always a question for the actual TV show was how did day one how the hell did Jason know to call the Zords then, and then how did they know to how to pilot them in the original series? In this case, I guess they tried to explain it saying, hey, it's symbiotic, with you in the battle armor. Then you connect and become one with the Zord,
which is also something that also bugged me about the movie is. They took off the visors when they're in the Zords. And
I know why they did it. It's the same reason they do it for, Iron Man and things like that. They want the facial expressions because you want the actors to be able to show off their facial expressions. But Venom from Spider-Man 3 again. I want to see Venom's face. I want to see them in the full armor because that's what I enjoyed. But I understand, hey, we need to take it off so that the actors can do their emotions. Then why?
What's also ironic, though, is originally in the Ivan Ooze movie, the Rangers' visors were supposed to come off as well when they're in the Zords. but they couldn't do it because of unknown reasons.
Yeah, but it worked. That was original footage. That wasn't Sentai
CG
footage that we needed. That was original footage of them in the cockpits then, in the Ranger suits, and it worked. You didn't need to see the facial expressions because you were used to the characters behind the mask you understood, hey, their motions, the voice. That was driving the character then instead of seeing the facial cues from their face. But I know why they had to do it because of many of the scenes in the Zords. They had to show fear and they had to show angst, hopelessness, things of that nature. You had to let the actors emote, and I'll give them a pass for that.
Anyway, and thus the next scene is just them trying to protect the God of Almighty, that is the savior of our world, Krispy Kreme.
Krispy Kreme. And they had to put a sexually explicit kind of scene style in there with Rita just sitting there in her skimpy outfit with her butt on a table eating the Krispy Kreme donut. Like why? Why? Did she need to eat a Krispy Kreme? Was that a requirement for her to get the crystal while Goldar's bashing the building in while she's inside? Did she need to get the donuts? Was there a reason she had to eat a donut while she was there? Other than for the sake of the Krispy Kreme advertisement.
Oh, come on. That is just crazy. It's just like when Kermit the Frog did an advertisement for fucking Lipton tea.
Yeah, but guess what? We knew that was a commercial. This was supposed to be a fucking badass Power Rangers movie, not a big-ass commercial of Krispy Kreme. So fine, whatever. That scene, it was stupid. It was there just to be like the Star Trek scene then with her in her underwear. Well, it's a trailer shot. We'll put it there. People will go see the movie because of it. Why did people go see the movie? Ooh, sexy Rita Repulsa. And even though the first half of the movie they make her like supposed to be like Harmony, kind of like she just rose from the dead. Well, yeah, she just fucking rose from the dead. But then, oh, woman, I like the sound of that. Now I'll look younger and sexier right now. Okay. Okay, so now we're still in the fighting scenes. So good action, but it did feel like Transformers. It felt like Transformers.
May we dare speak about the reference about what Jason did to the car?
Sorry, Bumblebee! You had to call it out? You could be subtle. It could have just been the little yellow Camaro there, and then he threw it, and that was it. That was it. You didn't have to have dialogue. It's like somebody was saying to me, hey, I didn't hear Kimberly say, nice stereo in there. You go like, no, we don't need her saying nice stereo and being a little nostalgic to the line. We need a day that's going to date the fucking movie by a shitload because we're going to have Jason say, sorry, Bumblebee, when he throws a yellow Camaro then. You just dated the movie and you pointed out you're subtle. If you wanted it to be a joke, you don't fucking say anything about it. You just have a yellow Camaro there that gets crushed. There you go. You don't need to say, sorry, Bumblebee, because now the Transformers universe, the movie exists in the Power Rangers universe.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I love that joke. I really did because, I'm not a big fan of the Transformers movies, but it was funny to see the rain. I swear, whoever wrote that line did it as a personal jab to what the Transformer movies were going through now these days.
But we're very likely at a possibility where the Power Rangers movie could do the same thing and go in the same direction then. Their CGI looks exactly the same, if not a little bit worse, than the Transformers CGI. So, I'm telling you. I'm saying Transformers 1. Okay?
Oh.
We're talking original couple Transformers. The later ones, they're getting kind of bad, and Optimus doesn't look like what I liked about Optimus anymore. He looks like a man made out of metal versus a machine kind of character that transformed from a semi truck. And that's speaking of we get into still the pointing. Hold the line, everybody. No Dino Tank. So we get no Dino Tank formation.
No Dino Tank.
So we just have so now I'm wondering if they'll ever do any formations in the future with the Dragon Zord or with Titanosaur.
I would be pissed off if they don't get the Ultra Zord. I would be upset if they don't get the Ultra Zord.
And they may or may not, because of the way this led into the next scene. The next part of the scene was hold the line. Oh, we can't hold the line. We keep firing everything we're doing. And then get pushed into the crater. Everyone's going to die. Oh, the flames are around us. We're being surrounded. Why should the flames bug you? Freaking the pterodactyl blasts out of a volcano in the show. and Tyrannosaurus rises from a magma crack in the surface. Like, why should we be bugged about fire that much?
I know, right?
But we're trying to be more realistic here. Whatever. Flames hurt things.
Suspension of disbelief.
But they get pushed into the pit. Big explosion. Flames. Again, why? They just got pushed down into a hole in the ground. How did that become Mr. Flame Center? But everyone thinks they're going to die. And then one of the... it hurt me too much at the end. The Megazord forms. In shadowy flames, you see Transformer-style formation of the Megazord. Oh, here's the locks. They're all connecting. You never see the full thing form. You just see little pieces here and there. Best thing about Power Rangers with the Megazord was watching that son of a bitch form. You always had the question saying... what is the monster doing while it's being doing that? Same thing with anime. What are all the monsters doing while Sailor Moon's transforming in all those scenes? For a minute and a half. What's that doing? What do they do in Power Rangers when they're trying to change from one formation to the Megazord? The original Power Rangers, they knew the Megazord existed. It was a Megazord Dino battle mode. Yeah, it was a part of the build-up. This case, it was like, what the hell is a Megazord? What is this? What is it? We'll call it something. What could we call it? What did Billy try calling it again? It's going like, we could call it a Mega Mom. A Mega Mom or something. No. A Megazord. Yeah, that's what we'll call it. So, Megazord never existed before? It was brand new? They just, formed it out of the power of their hearts and their imagination, and the Morphin Grid just changed the formation of the Zords, for one. Two, one of my other connections, this would have been better as a Voltron movie. Because they made Megazord feel like freaking Voltron even more. Because let's put everyone in their separate compartments. Two on the arm. I control an arm. Dude, you a leg too? Yeah, we're legs, yeah. Teen Titans Go made a better parody of that. Let's make... I'm a leg. Robin's a leg. Oh my god, Robin's a leg. Teen Titans Go did a better job of playing at the fucking joke. That is, let's have them control different parts of the body. Do you remember what Megazord was? Centralized cockpit. Right there. Centralized cockpit. Everybody went fucking together. I don't care how it happened. All the chairs came together then. They're always in the same compartment. There. Together. Why the hell did we need to have the separates? And then, dude, you gotta control this arm. Raise it. Do that. All this coordination bullshit between everybody in different parts of the Zord. It was Voltron. It was fucking Voltron at that point. I saw the Megazord. I didn't see my Megazord from my childhood. I saw a Voltron without the lion heads as hands because, it's New Age and we can't have lion hands. They gave him the horns, though. They gave him the horns, little bitty horn kind of things. But it's never as epic as seeing those horns fold out. Fold out right there. Zoom. Megazord activated. You go like that was just that little cheese factor would have been nice.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I didn't like this Megazord. I mean, yeah, I know it's supposed to be a reboot. It's just...
It was New Age Optimus Prime.
Yeah.
Fourth movie, Optimus Prime. He didn't look mechanical. He looked too organic. Everything was so smooth on him. Yeah, you know, all those Zords came together and became Mr. Smooth Thing. I didn't get to see all the individuality of the Zord. That was the best part of Megazord, I think, because I had the old toys too for Megazord, where you could take each individual one, form Megazord then, and you could see, hey, look, a saber-toothed tiger leg, a Triceratops leg, mammoth arms then there, the chest plate for the pterodactyl, and the Tyrannosaurus made up the bulk majority, which was another problem I had. The size comparisons. They made all the Zords super small. When, if you remember episode 2 with Bones and the Knight, Jason's fighting the Knight in freaking Tyrannosaurus in his Dino Zord. They're both the same size. There's scenes with Dinozord and Dragon Zord fighting alongside each other. They're the same height. You show how big that T-Rex was. The Tyrannosaurus Zord was. Now, in this case, you made him small as can be. Then he's very tiny, more like a tiny Velociraptor. And I can see why they, again, try to make it realistic that all these 5 little smaller Zords make one bigger Zord. But, I lost the track of these. They don't look like individual swords that came together. It just looks like one big robot now at the end of the day.
Anyway, we also get Rita, merging herself with her gold monster, which...
Well, kind of like her piloting it, so to speak, then. Like, hey, here's her now doing the Green Ranger thing, where Tommy wouldn't normally go into Dragon Zord. He's able to control him with the flute, but there is a cockpit.
Anyway, then after that didn't work. Rita just gets out of her gold monster. She proclaimed that there's going to be more others out there looking for the Zeo Crystal.
Setting up the sequels.
And then she said a few lines of dialogue that I think this would play something out later on in the sequels, where she ended up saying that they were not worthy. You remember when she said that, right? That
I deserve this power. So just think I deserve it. I deserve it. I've proven myself. And then you guys haven't. No, you haven't. You don't deserve this power. I'm the only one that deserves.
Which actually builds up some story elements about knowing how she ended up getting the power coin, how Zordon trusted her with it. This would have been some good story elements.
It could have been, is the truth behind it. Not, it is. I think there could have been, because now you've got 2 problems. One, after that bitch slap moment. Oh, geez, how does she get to the moon? We bitch slap her up there. Good for you guys. Good for you guys. That's how we're going to get her up in the moon. What? By herself? Where's Finster? Where's all the other side characters, then, that she had involved with her in the original show? We don't have them. Now we don't even have Goldar, because he's a giant gold monster thing, then, that she tries to bring up. So we're not going to have a normal-sized Goldar, then, that's going to be a side character, then? She bitched at Goldar all the time. He's sure he was her right-hand kind of command person, then, in charge of her forces. But they made her almost like she was obsessively my baby. Oh, man. With the Goldar character. So now did we lose the Goldar character for future series? Because now Goldar was established as just one big giant gold monster then that Rita was like obsessive about. So are we not going to have our chicken-winged friend as a side character then in future movies where he's going to have a personality? He's just nothing but a voiceless monster of gold.
Hey, we could have Rita with a Z.
Well, now how are you going to do that element then too? Why should the rest of the family? Why should rest of Rita's family be evil if she used to be a good guy then and a trusted Green Ranger with Zordon? How do you make the excuse now that she had an evil brother with Rito and her evil father, and that she was working for Zed, and that Zed was the true down evil then that was even more evil than her. So you put it in a spot now where's that going to come into play then? How do you expect her family to just be evil when she used to be good? You're kind of forcing that now. Whereas saying she was evil to begin with the original Rita.
Yeah, okay, I guess I could have thought that through. But still, yeah, I mean, with the Megazord just slapping Rita up to the moon, our heroes win the battle, and not before we end up getting a certain scene with two familiar Rangers.
Yep, we get our green and our pink. That's your lovey-dovey moment play off there for the thing. Yeah, look, they got together in the
David
extended...
Frank and Amy Jo Johnson.
Yeah, you got them in the extended universe new Power Rangers thing, taking the picture. And then did you hear the news about how he got thrown out of the movie when he was trying to record the reactions then of people seeing him on screen? Because he's... A lot of people say, you gotta get over it, man. You gotta get over it, Jason. Your Power Rangers years are behind you. But I actually say great for him on that. He's able to look back and he knows all the fans out there then know and look at him as being like he is an iconic character for the Power Rangers series that you grow up with. That's why they brought him back for Dino Thunder and things like that.
Hey, I'm still waiting for that PG-13 Green Ranger solo movie.
They won't do it, though.
They won't do it?
They won't do a PG-13 Green Ranger solo movie at this point. Because they got a storyline set up that they have to follow with, so they can't do them separate. They won't let them do that. But now we got to figure out who's going to be playing the Green Ranger because of the credit scene at the end of our bitch slap moment.
We also forgot about what happens at the end of Power Rangers with, of course, Jason inserting the sword that we never seen.
We saw it for a moment when they were fighting the putties, that he did have the sword and it was connected to the suit. It was symbiotic, but we don't see any of the other Ranger weapons. It was just him getting the sword, and it was like, hey, I'm going to put it here and I'll save it for when I need it again. Well, I guess he's going to need it again when he's facing Tommy then with the evil
Sword of Darkness.
Sword of Darkness then, and that's going to be the fighting between those two then, him and his Sword of Darkness. And then the Dragon Dagger better make a fucking appearance. I swear to God, if I do not see that Dragon Dagger playing a goddamn toot on a flute to summon the Dragon Zord, I'm going to be so pissed.
I want to see the fucking Green Ranger shield. I want the...
You can't not have the Green Ranger shield. You can't. It's an iconic thing. It makes sense for this story right now that, in the original Power Rangers, they didn't have the shield then, and the shield was given, Green Rangers, and then it was given to Jason then to use when the green power was being diminished so that you didn't lose the abilities then that came with that. But it is going to be looking pretty weird on these character designs now because we saw the Green Ranger costume when Rita was wearing it. We saw that at the very beginning. Look, there's the Green Ranger look right there. But are you not going to give him the Dragon Shield then now? Because you've already shown what the Green Ranger suit looks like?
Okay, maybe this could be me talking about this, but I think the only reason why the Green Ranger's shield didn't appear with Rita is because, again, proving my point that maybe she didn't deserve the power of the Green Ranger, and thus the power coin wouldn't fully respond to her.
I mean, this is where the writers now got to make up shit. So they didn't plan this out. I tell you right now. Now they're at a point where after they're going to see all the comments on the internet, people like us just talking about this, and they're going to say, oh shit, we forgot that, and it's going to be like the Ninja Turtles movie. We forgot Bebop and Rocksteady, we forgot Krang, we forgot all these characters, Casey Jones. Now they're looking at us saying, oh shit, we forgot the gold, we forgot the Dragon Shield, we forgot, these elements then here. And that was another thing with the end of the movie. When she gets bitch slapped to the moon, she drops her staff with the dragon coin in it. So instead of her giving the power coin to Tommy, and then turning him evil to use it, what is he going to do? Is he going to just find it out in the middle of nowhere, and then it's going to pick him as the worthy guy? But then how does he become the evil ranger then if he's now the worthy guy that finds the dragon coin instead of being enforced on him?
Maybe there's still some evil magic from Rita.
Yeah, it's the evil magic in there. And then come to think of it, if Rita was using the power of the coin, why didn't she bring Dragonzord instead of putting everything in Goldar, like he's going to be the one to rip the power? Why didn't she utilize Dragonzord then?
That's actually a good point. Well,
again, dumb shits writing this that probably didn't really watch the series. They just got all these little pieces of dialogue then. When, like Rita said when Goldar was forming, "Make my monster grow!" It was not... Fine, I wanted to hear that in the movie, but it was kind of cliche at that point, like, oh, look, he's growing, like literally growing with the gold up there, and they just kind of forced it in there. So I feel like the writers were not strong people who were fans of the show. They were just writers hodgepodge together, and that's why you have a Breakfast Club theme, a Spider-Man setup. It feels like Transformer jokes. I think they had a whole bunch of writers from a bunch of different movies then that just kind of took their own writing styles from what they've been doing, tried to make it a Power Rangers movie, and then threw in the couple extra pieces of dialogue then that they were told to throw in. Honestly, what you need people to come in there. You fucking needed Jason to half write this. You needed the guys who were involved with the original TV series to be writing this script or designing it in a way that it made sense with what they did for years.
I know, but the idea of having people who were involved with the show would make the movie feel like a bigger movie budget of the show.
Well, they didn't write the show. Remember, a lot of the people who were involved with it as the actors, things of that nature, they more lived the characters. And they wanted to reboot it. They wanted to reimagine everything. But I think you needed more input from them. I know Saban was involved in some of it, but not much. And he's laughing his way off to the bank, with how much money they made off of the licensing for this. So you go like, he doesn't care a shit at this point, He's
a friggin' millionaire.
Yeah, he doesn't care what's going on too much at this point.
All thanks to his way of saying, hey, combine American footage with Japanese stock footage.
Yeah. And part of it was it's much like a lot of the other people who get involved in stuff. Let's say Toriyama and things of that nature. He hates the Evolution movie. But was he involved in part of it? A little bit. And he's laughing his ass off to the bank that him and the rest of the staff and things like that then over there in Japan made a shitload of money off of America buying the rights, and guess what they get to anybody who sells the idea of Japanese or kind of a tied Japanese company thing to America, Death Note, Ghost in the Shell. Everybody in Japan could say if it flops here in America, oh Jesus, them stupid Americans then screwing it up, taking our source material and fucking it up. They have no blame. They don't have to worry about getting blamed for anything, because they can put it off. But if it's a success, they say, yeah, we helped them write it. That's what they did with Godzilla 2014. Godzilla 98, they fucking said, son of a bitch, you fucked up our shit. We gotta fix this. Godzilla 2014, it was a success. What did they say? What did Toho say? Yeah, we did. We helped them craft the idea and everything like that, and the design, and hey, we're gonna give them, Ghidra, Mothra, Rodan. Yeah, we're gonna let them do that now.
And then they made Shin Godzilla.
Yeah, and then they still made Shin Godzilla and said, yeah, okay, it was a good Godzilla, But you know what? Everyone here in Japan wants us to make something badass. We're gonna reimagine the original Godzilla, and it was a huge success as a true reimagining of the 1954 classic for a new age.
Anyway,
absolutely. So now we've kind of gone full circle. Obviously, we made mention of the post-credit, mid-credit, whatever scene credit.
Where we see the learning about Tommy being a student. We were going to see who was going to be the Green Ranger, but we never really see it.
Yeah, and what scene of a movie did that take from? Bueller. That's what they take off. The guy character being gone then that's being used in a roll call. It's again, I can pick off a lot of scenes then that were reminiscent.
I will say this: either Tommy is either in the bathroom or he found his way to the power coin and he's nowhere to be found.
That's got to be the obvious thing. Is that it's the power coin at some point. Maybe he's going through the changes, quote unquote, now that the rest of the guys went through, and he's trying to figure it out. So that's why he's not there. Or maybe he's just going to be Mr. Super Delinquent or something like that. They left it open right now to
a franchise.
To a franchise thing because they wanted to, we'll just see how everybody thinks about this movie. And again, I'll go back to my original score 5 saying, it could get a sequel. I see no problem giving it a sequel. Let's see them, now that they built the lore and they built the backing, let's really go into it. But I'm going to be disappointed if we go right into Zed, if we don't do Green with Evil, if we don't do the storyline, if I don't see Dragon Zord, all these little things that we just were talking about that were missing, Dragon Shield, why was she not having access to the full powers of the Green Ranger then when right at the beginning of the movie she was already in the Green Ranger suit, which looked exactly like everyone else's? Why was there not 6 stands in the ship? Why was there only 5 stands to access the morphing grid? Should have been 6. That would have been a very good allure to have 6 standings positions instead of 5, because there is supposed to be 6 Rangers. They were originally crafted 6 power coins. So what, did Zordon just take one of those spots away then for people to stand on? That would have been a smart move if they had made 6, because then you knew, anybody who came into that movie knew there was the 6th power coin, the 6th Ranger. And we already know at the beginning of the movie, for those who didn't know Power Rangers, look, Green Ranger, evil, Rita, she turned evil. Well, that shouldn't mean that all of a sudden the ship has one less stand for, the morph. Because we don't know if they can morph, like, just randomly. Can they do it at all, like a different thing? Do they have to be standing on these podiums to get their armor? Obviously, Billy proved that you could do it without being on the podium, but we see none of the other guys do it that way. We see them have to stand there and have the morphing grid open up and fill them up then. So I'm at kind of a loss at that point, feeling, how's the morphing work? And then all the toys that got sold, those morphers, put it in here with the coin and you pull this little handle thing and that's how they morph. You go like, that was never in the movie at all. So is that going to be in the next movie then? That's actually how they morph? Or is it going to be completely symbiotic or whatever? So now we got to wait, probably another 2.5, 3 years then before the next movie would come out.
My guess is 3 years.
I feel like if they're shooting for 6, they got to hurry up because they want to keep a lot of the same cast, same characters, unless by movie 3 you're already jumping into utilizing turbo actors. I mean, shit. Think about how long Yost's character was on the show. Yost's character was on all the way up until Zeo. So you go like, that's his character was lasted that long. Are we going to replace him super fast then as a result? Because it's I saw one of the trailers. Diary of a Wimpy Kid. What did they do? They rebooted the series, but they used a different book. It's not the first book then in the series, because all the kids are too old now to be still doing Diary with a Wimpy Kid. So they had to say, oh, look, new faces. So they got all new actors for all the characters then of Diary of a Wimpy Kid because they got too old. You can't wait too long for these guys because they're going to... you probably can go maybe about 6 years then without them not looking any more like teenagers. It becomes a little questionable. I've seen 20, 30-year-olds play teenagers, but these guys, these kids...
If Hermione's breasts look like they're 16, then surely these guys would pass on as teenagers in 3 years.
Well, yeah, 3 years, but we're talking 6 movies apparently they have planned. You go like, so they're... If you're going to do 6 movies, think about how fast Disney's turning Star Wars out. They're going to be turning them out every 2 years. So Episode 8's coming out this year. Episode 9's coming out in 2019. So they're doing that in 2-year increments then. this movie, these Power Rangers movies, I could see them turning out every 2 years. Speeding up production. If they plan to do 6, you gotta fucking move fast because people will get tired of it. They already are tired of Transformers, and Transformers plans to do 6. It did its first 3. Now it's doing these extra 3 then. So the last night and then whatever the 6th one will be. But what did you have to do? You had to add new casts. You had to put a Wahlburger in there and lose Shia LaBeouf at a point. So is that what you're going to do with the Power Rangers? Are we going to lose the entire cast then after the 3rd movie, and we're going to jump into, Turbo? I think would have been the time then that you lost everybody because what was it? As Rangers, because
Turbo was the one that almost killed the franchise.
Yeah, and then it was, but I mean, even at that point, we were still in the Zordon era too. I mean, we were in the Zordon era for a long time. So, are you going to still have Brian doing Zordon then for the next 6 movies?
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. Bryan Cranston has been getting older.
Yeah, I mean, you're at a point then where fine, he can do it then, but you can't expect to do 6 movies now over the course of the next 15 years like Transformers.
Yeah.
Is going to plan to do then, because one, you're going to lose the nostalgia of Power Rangers fast. Transformers is higher in popularity than Power Rangers. When you compare the two, Transformers, because of the toy line, because it came out earlier, things of that nature, it just sticks in a lot more people's heads than Power Rangers will. Power Rangers is trying to feed right off of, now, you notice all these 90s cartoons, TV shows, concepts coming back to life. 80s was a little while ago when they were doing them G.I. Joe things and that kind of stuff. My Little Pony getting its reboot. Now it's the 90s that are getting all these reboots and reimaginings and things like that. Eventually that's going to reach its plateau where, okay, fine, we've outgrown it. It's getting people like me in their 20s then and 30s that grew up strongly in the 90s. That's who they're trying to get. Well, you wait too long, we're going to be in our 40s. If they plan to release it, let's say 15 years is the 6th movie or something like that. I'm going to be 41 years old at that time. You go like, yeah, sure, I can still be nostalgic, but a lot of other people aren't going to be able to hold the nostalgia as easily as I do with my childhood. So
I would be 40 years old by the time that movie would come out.
Yeah, so they got to speed it up because it's the only way they're going to take advantage of the 90s generation as fast as they can. So I can see these Power Rangers movies getting turned out in 2-year increments if they really plan to go this route. So that's sort of my thoughts on it, but they've got to correct a lot of shit if they want to do 6 movies, because while they did a good setup of the characters to start off with, they put themselves in a bad position going forward, because where's Rita's supporting cast? Like I mentioned, what about her family? So if she's just the one that just became evil, is her father and brother not evil? So we're going to lose their storylines. How's Zed going to be incorporated into this? I'm sure it's supposed to be the more will come for it. So are we going to have the Rita Zed romance set up? Or is that going to be a thing? Is that why she betrayed them then? Is for Lord Zed then?
You're making me think how would Lord Zed would look in the reboot.
I think they can make him look pretty badass. I mean, there's no question to me that they've made a lot of well-designed characters that would look humanoid. Think about all the CG motion capture stuff they've been doing now with Star Wars when they had that set up.
I mean, that would be good, but I'm just hoping they try to at least change up the suits to feel more, more aesthetic. I'm okay with the core 5, but when you have the Green Ranger,
he's got to have his different, because that was part of it too. His different design to the suit, with the shield and everything. His armband too. it just made him look different. Whenever you look at a lot of Sentai footage, the Sixth Ranger does look a little bit does look pretty different. In many cases, their costumes are not identical or necessarily that close to the others. There is something that sticks out. Hey, he's got more shoulder plating, or there's just always kind of been something like that for any Sixth Ranger that I saw, where it was more of a stick out. Samurai, Ninja Storm, for example, with the Samurai one, he's looked different. Even the other two Rangers look different with their beetle based looks to them. Then you had that little bit of different design that worked well. And I think, you do have to do that with Tommy's Green Ranger. Maybe they'll use it as an excuse that, it's on Tommy now and not Rita, so the suit looks different. You go like, bullshit! The suit looked exactly the same on Zordon as it does on Jason. So what's your excuse there? Why does theirs get to look exactly the same? And then for some reason, Tommy, when he uses the coin, it's going to look different than when Rita was wearing the suit. So you can't use that excuse because you've got 5 other Rangers that are involved in it. But, you got to do... I think they shot themselves in the foot by showing Rita in the Green Ranger armor, because now we do have this question raised. How's it going to look with the Dragon Shield, and how is it going to look different to distinctly seem better, so to speak, than the regular suits?
And my major concern is the Dragon Zord.
Dragon Zord is going to be a hassle, because now Dragon Zord has to be as big as Megazord. So Dragon Zord cannot be the size of the T-Rex ones. He has to be this fucking monstrous single Zord by himself.
Hey, it could be worse. They could have just made him more Mecha Godzilla than the actual Mecha Godzilla.
They probably would. We haven't seen the design, so you don't know. It could very well be. That was the basis behind Dragon Zord. It's very clear then it was made in Japan, things of that. Dragon Zord is an exact, reference to Mecha Godzilla. It's known. Everybody knows that.
Rip of Mecha Godzilla. Come on, you fucking Mecha.
He's got everything. Yeah, I'm saying it, but it was a tribute kind of thing. That's saying, hey, we're gonna how huge he's rising up out of the freaking bay with the tune. Everything, they made it straightforward. They weren't trying to hide it. They made it obvious that it was supposed to be a reference to Mecha Godzilla then having him raise out of the bay. He better fucking raise out of the goddamn Angel Grove Bay. There's the water right there. We know it's around there. They're right on the bay fishing, the dad, whatever. So I better see Dragon Zord rise up from Angel Grove Harbor or whatever, and
just pop up all the water Godzilla style.
And I want to see it. It's gotta look organic to the point where he's a standing up Mecha Godzilla kind of look-alike. I just hope that he doesn't look like if they do Mecha Godzilla in the 2014, legendary Godzilla look. Now
here's the last thing I need to talk about when it comes to the Green Ranger, is for the sequel. Okay, yes, Green with Evil is not a doubt one of the best story arcs in the series. It went up to 5 parters and establishing the Green Ranger. We got the introduction in episode 1. We've got what he can do in episode 2. In episode 3, we see the extension of his power with the power of the Sword of Darkness. Then in episode 4, we see him causing more trouble for the Rangers, even losing their Zords. And not to mention, we end up getting the reveal of who he is. And finally, the 5th, we see him how badass he is with his his awesome sword, the Dragon Zord.
I wonder if Rita will make him grow then too for the scene. So we'll have the giants, because now we don't know the extent of Rita's ability to make a monster grow, because Goldar was formed with magic with gold, from scratch. So are we not going to have a small villain that the Power Rangers fights, and then Rita makes him grow after they destroy him? Or how are we going to get back up to Megazord status? What's going to stop Zack from just saying, hey guys, I'll grab the Mammoth Sword again, and we'll do the same thing we did with the putties. Let's knock over the guy. Sure, it makes logical sense. Why the hell don't they jump to the Zords right away?
Let's not forget about you forget about the words that Zordon told the Rangers. You must never
escalate a fight. the 3 rules, because I rewatched episode 1 then, and the 3 rules were there. So they must have just took episode 1, and that's all the writers watched. Was episode 1. They didn't watch any other element of the Power Rangers. They don't know what Green Ranger looks like. That's probably it. They just know a Green Ranger exists. They only watched episode 1 of the show, because then they even had the 3 Ranger laws in there. Rules of being a Ranger. 1, don't use your powers for your personal gain. 2, don't escalate the fight. And 3, don't reveal your identity, which Jason pretty much kind of sort of slightly did by saving his father in that car again that happened. So you go because he's looking at like that and there, you go oh look, I'm going to put up a thing right next to the football star son of mine. Yeah, right there you go. You get to go next to that with the Rangers or something. Save the day. Save Angel Girl from Golden Monster. Right there next to my son. See, I hold these Rangers in high esteem. It alludes to the fact that he knows it's Jason by putting it next to Jason's football picture then that's on the fridge as well. It alludes to it. So, okay, well, I guess the parents know then, or he knows at least, or something he's got related to it. Especially when you got him tied to, he's the one that fished up Rita, remember.
So, I thought the movie was good, but it's not that great. It is kind of good for if you are a fan of the show,
It does bring up some things. It caused us, now, to kind of go over everything and rediscuss some of the stuff from all those years ago and kind of what made the series good to begin with. What is the nostalgia they're trying to establish in this movie? So it did its part there. It did its part to connect all that. Yeah, it was. I'm not going to say to anybody, don't go see the movie. Be it a Power Rangers fan, be it not. I think just at the end of the day, it's an average movie. And I could have given it a higher rating if I didn't go into it expecting it to be more action, Power Rangers, fighting Zord, make a little bit more sense and not too much of a cheese factor.
And let me tell you, they really put up I'm just gonna say this: they put a lot of cheesecake factories when they were doing the freaking Krispy Kreme scenes.
And it wasn't as much of the cheese. I could see the cheese. The original series was cheesy. Yeah, guys in giant suits, and the characters were a little like a typical hang out at the juice bar kind of thing. Go yeah, fine. I can understand. We want to interject some cheese. That was just blatant product advertisements. Like we said, Krispy Kreme had to pay for half the fucking movie. Yeah, at that point.
What about the nuns? Surely that was enough cheese factor.
Cheese versus not needed. The nuns were just not needed. I didn't think of it as a cheese factor. I thought of it as somebody thought it would be hilarious to throw nuns for no reason. Cheesiness is something that you can enjoy. I can enjoy the cheesiness of the original Showa-era Godzilla movies then, with Godzilla doing a dance, then jumping up into the air, doing his flying tail kick. That's cheese. That's something where it makes no sense. It's completely pointless, but it's hilarious at the same time. And it sticks in your memory because it's cheesy and you expect it to do that. The nun scene is something that, I remember it, but is it going to be something 5 years down the road I'm going to have ever in my mind? Absolutely not. True cheese factor is where I'm not going to forget this shit. The wrapping pumpkin from Power Rangers, yeah, that's cheese. I'm not going to forget a fucking wrapping pumpkin head because that's 90s cheese. I'm not going to forget, the giant monster fight with explosions combining Sentai footage and American footage because it's a classic kind of thing that you just remember and it worked. It made you enjoy the shit out of it. I didn't enjoy the shit out of watching a bus of nuns while Zack goes by in the Mammoth Zord again because I had more of a feeling of okay, so he's running the Zord. We just told him I had other questions in my mind when that was going on. And I still was upset about it, that he didn't look like a freaking mammoth. It didn't look like it. I almost counted 6 legs on the thing. I swear to God, I've got to watch that scene again, because it looked like when he jumped in the air and they had the undershot of the body, that there were 6 legs. One more thing to point out, and I think I'll be done with pointing out stupid shit. Oh, look, he's got a sword. Goldar has a sword. Yes, Goldar did have a sword. It was his signature weapon, his signature sword then, that he carried along with him. Okay, we'll fight. We'll not fight him. We'll do what we did with the rocks. Oh, look! Ah, suplex! Oh, that's how we defeat monsters. Suplexes now. Okay. But then the last kicker was, all right, how did the Power Rangers finish off most of the villains in each episode? Let's
Using
see.
a sword.
Using the Power Sword. All right. One nice swipe, Dragon Zords, Missile Barrage, the drill, different, finisher moves. What was the finisher move? Hey, we got swords too. You just fucking formed this Megazord. You had no idea. We're trying to learn how to run it. Hey, you got to do that. Move its arm. You got to get in sync. We trip and fall the first time they try to use it. But then all of a sudden they know, hey, we got swords too. Ching. They pull a Kratos. Let's just stab him with 2 swords. Where's my Power Sword? This is freaking. This is Star Trek. Daggers, Klingon daggers or whatever. That we're shoving into him while he's down on the ground, and that's how we finish Goldar off, folks. Yes, he's down on the ground after he trips, and now we're going to stab him with 2 swords like this. Go like, where the fuck is my big ass finisher Power Sword? In the first episode, they didn't finish Goldar off. They pull out the sword and then he runs away. Yeah, I'm fine with that. I was actually fine with that because that kept Goldar. He was a reoccurring villain. You keep him going. He's running away because he noticed, hey, they got a little more power behind him now. I don't think it's time to fight. But no, let's trip Goldar up, stab him with a couple toothpicks then, and not have one big ass Power Sword then that comes down. That's like our win-all, final-all finisher weapon then here that people will fucking bow down to. Yeah, we're just going to make him look like... We're just going to have our ninja-style sword, weapon, dagger things. Like,
Of course.
why couldn't you just keep that the same? Why did you have to change that too? You changed the Megazord, you changed where they're positioned. They're not in a central cockpit. They're all controlling separate limbs.
It's just...
And then to top it off, you finish off the villains by stabbing them. No Power Sword strike /
Not even that monster never even went kaboom.
No, kaboom! It just... Oh, it's gold. There goes
Liquid
all the
gold.
Liquid gold formed down.
Liquid gold.
Bitch slap. Gone.
Liquid gold and bitch slap.
And then
That's
where
what
did
it
all
is.
that gold go? Did everyone collect it? Who did no one run up and say, son of a bitch, there's fucking billions of dollars of gold here? Somebody grab this shit! I expect that's how they rebuild the city then, is with all that gold.
Yeah, because everybody knows that Angel Grove.
Angel Grove is like Japan. They have a constantly working construction team rebuilding after every giant monster fight.
It's either that or maybe some of the cities are the empty warehouse districts.
No, that was, it was, overall, again, passable movie, but if you are going to be a fan, a Power Rangers fan, going into this to, relive the nostalgia, I will say that you'll be disappointed. You'll still see it, and you'll still say, hey, I'm glad I saw it. But you're not going to come out of that saying, this is awesome. This is an updated version of the Power Rangers that I remember. You're going to go into it saying, if this was not a Power Rangers movie, it had the same kind of setup. We just didn't call them Zords. We didn't call them Power Rangers. We didn't call them, coins. If we just did this separately as its own thing, it would have rated better overall than what I'm rating it as a Power Rangers movie. Same thing with the Ghostbusters element. If you had done just a bunch of women that you weren't trying to cater to things, which is what they did in this film by having, controversial Trini, having, we got to point out we're not racist anymore. I'm black. I'm the Asian guy. I'm black. We're not pointing that out anymore. We're trying to correct some of these political PC elements to our society. If you fine, I can see that in a movie, whatever. But tying that into a Power Rangers movie, trying to build off a nostalgia while trying to be a New Age movie, it hurt the film more than it helped it. So I will leave it as 3 words, 3 phrases: Krispy Kreme, Voltron, and Voltron and hand jobs. There's my 3 summaries of this movie.
And as for me, I give it a 6 because, again, while it's not a great movie, it's an all right movie. Do I say it's recommended for Power Rangers fans? No, but if you are a Power Rangers fan, you would be a little bit disappointed. But if you would let your mind put back into reality and just enjoy it as it is, then fine, more power to you. That's really good. Bottom line, the movie's okay. Just like I said, it's just opening up to a franchise, and hopefully if the next one's good, let's hope. So my 3 words for this one is freaking Krispy Kreme, hamming up Elizabeth Banks, and more Cranston.
More Cranston. Well, at least he's bald.
Yes.
Okay, well, we definitely had a night then here, so this was a fun live stream. I don't know how many people eventually showed up, because I didn't get to see that number. But 5 people, man, I can pull some real numbers in the matter of 2 hours of posting a video, can't I? It just means I gotta get back to doing regular shit. I remember I could pull, tens of thousands of views in a couple days. I gotta get back to doing shit.
I just hope we get the idea of trying to do Homecoming, because I would love to hear our thoughts about talking about the Spider-Man movie.
Well, we'll just have to plan the review out earlier enough in advance to get a bigger audience. Is our shot. Okay, well, we'll leave it at that then. I'll have to turn off the recording software then here, and I'll see. This is one long ass one. I might not keep this on the channel then. This is like 3 hours of dialogue. I don't know how that would do sitting there.
Well,
how many people would actually watch 3 hours of dialogue in a video?
Well, we can always split it up to 3 sections.
Yeah, it's possible, but it's one of those things where I'll have to think about it then, just because it's going to be split already because of when it cut out on us. So I don't know how that's going to work, and I have to see how that got recorded and saved when it cut out. If it did save on my computer, otherwise it should have saved at least to YouTube, and then I'd have to figure out one way to do that. But I don't know too many people who will sit for 3 hours then and listen to our dumbass rambling. But I think the vast majority of it came down to when we essentially walked through the movie and started talking about everything. So we pretty much did the movie, broke it down very well. I have to say, not too detailed, but we kind of covered every major point. There wasn't anything that we didn't we skipped over, really. That was too dramatic, big. We got every major point of the movie.
Yeah.
In chronological order or something. So just watch us. Don't go watch the movie. Watch us. There's your answer.
But still, yeah.
Save your $10. Just watch us for free.
Yeah, but so that was fun.
Okay, well, for those who are still there, then I'm going to cut off the recording then now, so all you guys have fun. Orimo, I know you're there because you're still on Skype there on my left screen with Krispy Kreme. Can you spell Krispy Kreme? Krispy Kreme? Orimo's still there.
Oimo, you little devil, you owe us an episode.
Or at least edit something and let me voice in it then, because,
Yeah,
I'm too damn lazy to edit anything recently. That's why it's going to be good doing the Haruhiest, episode 11, out now. Go watch that on the channel. I love my dialogue from 3 years ago. I'm still nonchalant. Don't give a shit, Keon.
And I hope Picklone gets me into another role, because I would love to do some more voices.
Well, we got some fun things kind of planned for Endless 8 we're thinking about, so we have to still kind of him and me have to kind of cross-reference ourselves on some ideas for Endless 8. Because that's going to be a fun one. But, alright, so those who are here, go watch the Haruhiest with me, and it's called Haruhiism Episode 11.
And if you want your Soul Leader, check out the Insane Bad Guys. Or if you want to see some voice actors, check out the show me, Newman, and Oimo, who is still missing.
Kind of, sort of, maybe host every once in a blue moon.
Our collaborational project of Inside the Mind of the Voice Actors show.
Perfect. All right, well, we are off then. Signing out from Newman here.
And Zero Signer.
Out.